Welcome back to another episode of the Weekly DLC. I'm one of your hosts, Kurosh, joined always by my co-host, Daniel Vargas.
Nom nom.
And Danny Jang.
The room where it happened, the room where it happened.
And if you're not familiar with what we do, we come to each and every week from podcasting services of your choice, from tables of our choice. We're all at a different table right now.
Social distance.
Social distancing, boba sucking.
Episode 169.
We're PG-13, I swear.
And we talk about nerdy stuff. We talk about comics, games, pop culture, movies, everything in between. We hope you have fun. We're gonna have some fun, I think. We got a juicy episode today, episode 178. So, if this is your first episode, thank you for joining us. Please go and check some of our older stuff. We got some good ones in there. If this is not your first time, buckle in. We're about to do a spoiler cast.
Spoilers.
That's where you do the sucking.
Hamilton spoilers.
Wait, is yours?
Is mine?
Okay, turn yours up a little.
Which one is mine?
Follow the cable.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, it's back.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, so before we get into the spoiler cast, I kind of want to go, what have you guys been up to this week?
I beat the game, which is why we're doing a spoiler cast.
Nice.
So,
Over the long weekend, right?
I played Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So I did
after the weekend.
I played after the 3-day weekend I had. And yeah, coming in on Wednesday, I was worried. I was like, they told me, I was like, at some point you realize it's halfway. And when I got to that point, I'm like, if this is halfway and I got to do everything like the distance of what I've already done, I'm like, I don't think I'm beating it in these next 3 days. Or by tomorrow, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I guess at the time that I realized it would have been the 3 days. Yeah, and I guess I beat it. I don't know.
Are you done? Cool. What'd you do over the weekend then? 4th of July.
I've been reading a lot of manga. So I the reason I was watching anime is because
Legally,
I'm
of
really
course.
I'm into the I think it's isekai. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but it's essentially it's a genre of style, and it means it's when a character is like reborn and given a new life, and usually it's within I don't know if it means it's within a game, but normally they're reborn inside of a game, or they get sucked into a game, or like now they're living inside of a game.
Like Sword Art?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's essentially isekai. But then there's also like reincarnation ones, which they call isekai as well, where like a person dies. Like there's one, I think it was also an anime, but like the guy dies trying to save someone. He gets like stabbed or whatever, and he's like, the first thing he's like, I have porn on my computer, as he like dies or whatever, and then he gets like revived into a game. Essentially.
Here's a serious question: if you got reborn into a woman, would you? The first thing you look with your breasts, like
That's
Find
only,
out on episode 1
That's
or
only if you,
269.
only if you retain your memories. But like in within the anime world, there's like I've already watched like almost all of it, or like the ones that like I could watch. Like I just didn't get into it. It's like I watched 1 or 2 episodes. Like I don't like this one. And so I've read like manga from time to time. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna like see what I can find. And like I don't know what happened, but like I found a buttload, and some of them were like 200 chapters long already.
Holy shit.
And so like that's the one like pretty much I read throughout the whole 3 days. I ended up finishing it, and I was like, I need more. And so I'm reading one right now that's like complete. It's obviously the same premise, but completely different in a sense of like the character. It's called Trash Hero,
Okay.
and the character is it staticking?
No, it's not staticking. I'm just trying to hear you better. I think yours needs to go up a little bit more.
I'll put it up a little more. I'm worried that like it's
No, yours is connected.
All right. Anyways, it's a character that was transferred from high school to be a hero, and he's told like if you kill the demon king in this world, we'll let you go back home or whatever. So he does the whole entire thing, and like literally the story starts out with him gonna face a demon king, and it's like no problem. Like he like kills it like easily, and he's like, all right, time to take me back. I finally get to use a flushing toilet essentially, and And then like someone comes out and he's like, no, and he's like, here's your report card, and he's like A+ in combat or like S rank in combat, but then it's like in being nice to people, he gets an F. And what turns out is before he gets to the Demon King, he kills all of his companions because they're just like holding him back.
Oh.
He's like pissed. He's like, man, these guys just hold me back. So he just like murders everyone. And then it turns out that like he hates all of his companions because like they tried to train him the best they could, but like they overdid it, and the guy's like he's recalling like when he was like extremely tired, when he passed out, and he's like, man, these guys just suck. So then they're like, you're gonna have to do this whole thing over again. And you're gonna have to get a better grade on all these or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he retains the memory still of everything he did. So then it's literally just starting all over again, the exact same scenario. Yeah. But he has all these memories now. So he knows people he's gonna meet. He knows all these things.
He knows the game.
And he knows the game. But it turns out like because he's like because he's like the hero class, he gets like 500 times the amount of, or not 500 times the. It's 500 times the amount of XP or whatever. So, or 500% the XP. Sure. So he ends up killing his comrade before their comrade. So then it's like, they're not my friends yet. Like, it's not bad or whatever.
He's trying to find loopholes.
So yeah, he's like, and he knows that these guys are high level. So then he obviously does it a sneaky way. And so he goes from like level 4 to like level 106. Still?
You're good.
No. Anyways, he goes from like level 4 to 106, and then he goes from like 106 to like 200, 300 or whatever. He just keeps leveling up like crazy. Mm-hmm. And then people start becoming suspicious. Like, how are you getting this strong or whatever? And he's just like ruthless, dude. He's like, he doesn't care about anybody else. He just wants to beat this game to go back home. And he's like going a shortcut route now that he knows how everything works. But now there's like a system administrator that's like telling him like, if you keep doing it this way, you're still not going to pass. If you keep doing this way, and he's like arguing with them. He's like, I'm going to keep going all the way until I beat the Demon King because that's what you guys asked me to do. And so like I'm in the middle of that, but I don't think it's going to finish. It's like 50 chapters, and it probably won't end up finishing. But I don't know. Like I read it, I'm like, this is terrible. Like he's really like.
But then you're like 8 more chapters.
Yeah, I just keep going. So that's what I'm reading right now. Like I'm chapter 23 right now. Okay. Before he called me essentially to come down.
Dang.
What are you up to, Jay?
Replaying The Last of Us. Well, Valorant. I've been playing a shit ton of Valorant. Ranked? Usually with just one other person, but sometimes we get like a full team. And
how's that been?
I can't break gold, dude. Forever iron, dude. Or silver. I keep on saying iron.
If you lose, do you lose rank?
Yeah.
Okay.
It depends. It
depends on your performance.
Well, yeah. You could be equal, but I don't think you can go up. And then, yeah, I bought the battle pass, which I said I wouldn't. Because I really don't see myself playing this game a lot, but
yet here we are.
I mean, yeah, here we are. But I've been playing The Last of Us Part 2.
Doing the platinum run?
Second round platinum run.
Okay.
I've been reading Alexander. Oh, so I picked up Disney Plus because of Alexander Hamilton to play.
You mean
really
free trial? Free trial, you mean?
No, I paid, dude.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, because I paid for Hulu as well because I want to see Atlanta season 2. So I got the combo.
Oh, it's on there?
It has the combo. So
okay.
I need to finish it within a month and cancel.
What is it? Is it $10 or $12?
It's like 12.
So you're getting Hulu, Disney
ESPN.
Plus, and I think that's also Spotify, right? Or no?
ESPN.
Oh, that's just those 3.
Yeah.
There's a version where it's Hulu and Spotify.
That's the one. No, is it Hulu and Spotify?
Yeah, my cousin did that one.
That's the one I tried to get when I wanted to get Hulu, but now that Disney Plus, I'm trying to find like a triple package, you know.
And watched Hamilton, and this may upset some people, but I thought it was okay. It was like a 83 to 85, solid B. When it hit.
Yeah.
And there were parts where I was like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, actually, going into it, I thought it was 100% hip-hop songs. It's more musical than hip-hop. I was actually surprised, because I didn't know. I only know.
It can't be both?
I mean, when people talked about it, my conception was, oh, it's all rap songs.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything going into. I only know the first song. I'm Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah.
I only know that song. And then, so going into it, I was blind, and I was like, oh, this is more musical than hip hop, but it's actually pretty good. Yeah. That's all I can say. It was okay. I mean, it's gonna piss off a lot of people because people are like hardcore.
Well, actually, I've been seeing, like, I was looking into more of the discourse because I also watched it, and there's a lot of conversation of not so much the music, but of the actual play and how it. I don't know. I haven't read them fully, but I'm inclined to because of what the subject is. It's like this whitewashes a lot of things because they overlook that these are all white people because they're portrayed by people of different color and cultures, and it kind of just overlooks that whole like part of it. And they're like, well, in the society we live in now, that's become such a hot topic and hot button. Is it as well received as it was in 2015? And there's a lot of like yay, nay, or like accuracies and stuff. But music aside, that's all like music. They're like
people who watch it.
Yeah,
this is not there are probably people watching this and think it's accurate.
I don't understand how someone can watch like a play
well, I don't understand
and expect it to be 1-1.
I don't understand
people that say based on a true story.
Or I don't understand how some people can look at a voice actor and blame her for the character.
That's insane, dude.
There's
acting, dude.
Yeah, there's so much that are just like,
dude, and it's happened before, like in a story where like a character does something that like obviously. And they like in real life, like people will start messaging this person, this actress or actor who did this, who played this character, and like, you're a piece of shit for doing this. Like, what the fuck? He's acting, dude.
I feel bad. I mean, we talked about Last of Us, those people, but I always think back to the Jar Jar actor.
Oh.
That guy got to a point that was very, very dark in his life. There's a video he posted later on in his life, and he shared like what that put him through. And he's like, it was such a horrible place. I remember, like, it's like just because fans, they were just like you.
Yeah,
I'm like, man,
you shouldn't even be in this series.
The
or
kid
whatever.
that played little Anakin, he went through a lot of like trouble.
Fuck.
So yeah, it's an ongoing, just horrible thing. But
Geoff.
Oh yeah, he quit. Yeah.
There's certain things about the play that I thought were fucking genius. I'm like, I don't know how you felt, but when I heard George Washington's like intro, I was blown away. I was like, this is fucking.
It was funny because we were watching.
Man.
We were watching, and I was looking through my Twitter, and I saw you. You were like half an hour ahead, and every time I saw you say something, I'm like, oh, I can't wait. I wonder what he's talking about, and I'm like, what happened? I'm like, oh, this is the part.
The general is coming.
Wait, you watched it on? Wait, what?
He watched it on Friday. I was also watching it on Friday.
But how do you know he was like 30 minutes ahead?
Because he was tweeting.
Oh,
I was live tweeting. Okay. What's up to my one follower?
Hi, my name is Jeff.
Hey, Jeff. But yeah, I mean, it's not like the must see. Like I thought people hyped it up so much. I was like, it was cool.
Have you seen other musicals like Wicked and?
I haven't seen like Wicked, but I took a theater class and we just watched like a shit ton of musicals.
Okay.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
There's a musical for it.
That's good.
I want to watch the Book of Mormon. Haven't seen that.
That one's good too. But that one's very like if you're into South Park humor, it's very in line with.
I never watched South Park, but I like Team America. So
okay,
same people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're gonna talk more in depth. Last of Us. I think it has to be two playthroughs because knowing what you know, when you play it again, it's just like it hits differently. Yeah.
So for me, we watched. Katie and I watched Hamilton as well. I had no idea, like Jang, I had no idea what songs. I don't know anything. All I know was like I'd seen some clips of like I'm Alexander him, all that stuff. I was like, okay. And I'm like, that song's cool, but it didn't like hit me. And everyone's like, oh my god. So people were telling Katie, they're like, you guys are gonna be singing these songs for a while. And like I was like, I'm skeptical. And then we watched it, and it started growing on me. And it was definitely because of the performances of I don't hold okay, I'll say this. Lin-Manuel, when people like said Moana with writing from Lin-Manuel, everyone's like, oh my god. I'm like, who is this? Like, okay, like he's a cool guy. I'm not knocking him, but I was like, I wasn't hyped. And when he came on stage, I was like, he's pretty good. But like, it was the people that were on stage with him that I felt like were the performances I enjoyed more. Like the George Washington.
Aaron Burr, I think, was the best dude.
He was good.
Fuck, man.
Jefferson was my favorite.
Jefferson's cool.
The actor in the version they showed on this, because it plays it's so subjective to like where you're seeing a performance, whether it's like New York
and the actors,
and what they recorded is that version. So it's like, okay, that's the one everyone will see.
What I heard is like there was an original script. Some people would kind of like ad lib stuff. I think Jefferson ad libbed a couple things. And if you ad lib stuff, you got more money. So like it's for some, because they made the show more enjoyable. So when Jefferson's like, ha 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 ha, you ain't got the votes, and then Jefferson goes, ha 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 ha. That's from a rap song. I was like, oh, there's no way that was in the original. I was like, there's no way.
The actor that played him did like really well. He had like a swagger to him, and it kind of created like a new personality to what you think of Jefferson. Like in your history, you're always like Washington's a certain portrayal. Jefferson, all these like founding fathers had a certain portrayal that's always just attached to them, based on how they've been put in all these different fiction. This one had its own version of all these characters.
Also, I didn't know that a lot of them butted heads like that.
Yeah.
I mean, reading the book too, like that play, I was like, I didn't know. Some of them just didn't get along, dude. Like Jefferson and Hamilton did not get along.
Conflicting viewpoints and stuff. But it was enjoyable. It was just, and rightfully so, it's like when you're watching in a theater, you could be like immersed, but when you're watching at home, 3 hours feels, I think, a little longer. They had the intermission, and she was like, let's watch the other half tomorrow. I'm like, let's just power through. Like, I'm in the mode. Let's go. And the third act for me was where it started to dip for me. Like, the first two, it was like, there was a missed song, but like most of them were pretty good, and I was interested in the story. But after a certain point, I just started losing interest. Like there was a pamphlet, and that was like after that I was just like, ugh. I was
like
kind of zoned.
It reset everything.
Like
it was like the second half of last year, or the halfway point. Not the second half, the halfway point.
Day 11. So watch that. Played Pathfinders over the weekend with my buddies. We're like now in the dungeon, and we're just wrecking shit up. And it was crazy too, because so he's got this story where it's us, and there's a narrative we're involved in. Of this central plot, but then there's this side character that's been guiding us, and she's got like beef with this side guy on the enemy side.
NPC?
Yeah, two NPCs.
And they're NPCs that follow you or are with you is usually controlled by the GM?
So the GM will do the roles, but we tell him what we want them to do.
Okay.
He's sort of at the beginning was giving us like, you should have her do this, because we don't know what her things are. But she's really like, she knows her shit. She's experienced. And she has this beef with this one giant ogre guy. And he's in this fort. And early at the beginning of it, I think I mentioned, we had her hold this exploding spear, and we're just going to be like, you bum rush in and just nuke him. And she got a 1. And if you get a 1, no matter if you win, like with all your boosts, you beat it, something bad happens, and she goofed it. So then we go into the castle or the fort, and we're dealing with this horde of goblins, and her and this guy follow a blood trail. It was that guy's blood trail.
Yeah.
And they go underground, and they face them, and something happens to the player where they get petrified. And when you get petrified, you automatically have to go in the opposite direction as fast as your character can move. And he had to do that for 4 turns. So he's just running away. So it left her facing this guy one-on-one, none of us are around. And I was like, oh shit, we can't even help, we can't watch.
Can you still tell her what to do?
He was asking us like, what do you want her to do? And we're like, yeah, but none of us are there. Like our characters aren't witnessing this. And I was immersed.
Which is why I was like, how do you tell her what to do?
Yeah. He was just like, you control her.
Yeah.
So we're totally occupied. Like this whole encounter we're in, just we're nuking people. People are coming in, all this stuff. And she's just going toe to toe with this guy. This guy's got like the beefiest sword or mace. She's got these tiny blades, but she has like a bunch of boosts and
stuff. Is
stuff.
she like a rogue and an assassin?
She's like a ranger.
Okay.
So think of like Aragorn versus like a giant Uruk-hai orc. And she starts getting the advantage. Like, all right, got it. But then she missed one, and then he just one hit knocks her. And then we have like, it became like me watching The Raid or something. I was like, can we just get through all this shit? Because I want to get back to their turns. And it literally ended like they were going up the stairs back to us.
So she's trying to get or like help, like.
Well, she's just trying to get the higher ground.
Yeah.
Like as they're fighting, she had the height advantage, so she could get some advantages on her rolls. But then it got to a point where she was at the door, and he knocks her through the door, and you're like, oh fuck, like. She's got maybe enough hit points for like one more hit like that, but
Yeah.
So I had my character. We had just finished ours. I'm like, book it. I want to either be there to witness it or be there to help. And she gets one last hit in and it takes him out. And I was like, all right, my character saw this happen. I'm like, because my guy's like he's like the Bilbo
Record.
where he keeps a record of everything
Yeah.
in the stories. I'm like, I'm gonna sing songs of this shit. So we played that. That was fun. My cousin and my brother have been wanting to play a game together, and we keep like, my brother's like heavy into Fortnite. My cousin doesn't want to play Fortnite, and we're trying to figure out a game.
Valorant.
Valorant.
They both have Macs, so they need a game that's like compatible with Mac, and I was like, I guess Valorant isn't.
Get on it right.
I don't know. So then we're like spitballing ideas, and then I was like, wait a second, there is a game. And my brother, I was talking to him, and he's like, yes, I've played the first one. And so we all bought, it was on Steam sale, Divinity Original Sin 2 on PC. And I was like, let's get, like, this will be Dungeons and Dragons minus a DM, which will let us all play.
I'm like halfway through that.
And we literally we played on Monday, and we spent like an hour making our characters, because we were like, all right, what are you going to be? We want some variety.
This is that like gamer list thing we did, or the assessment thing.
Yeah.
I would have spent like 10 minutes.
We spent an hour.
Bald?
Well, it was largely because we were
Bald?
like, we don't want all to be like the reptile people. We don't want all to be dwarves. So we were like, okay, if you're going to be this, I'll try to be this, so that we have.
Can I guess what you made?
Guess.
You made a dwarf.
Yes.
And then I don't know, like you probably would have been
Axe.
it's either a warrior as like a close to like a wrestler build probably, or a ranger. I don't know why, but like I feel like you do a ranger probably too.
So my cousin went like the reptile people, and he went ranging. So he was like, he's going to be a crossbow user.
So then you're not ranger.
So then my brother, he wanted to be a human. I let them pick.
Yeah.
Because I wanted them to be invested. Their stuff first. So then my brother wanted to be a human, and he wanted to be a conjurer. So it's
Okay.
like black magic, range
So
stuff.
then you're the
He
tank.
summons a lot of people.
You're the tank, dude.
So then I was like, do I want to be undead, or do I want to be a dwarf? Because I didn't like the elf. The way the
Yeah.
elf looks in it was kind of like Avatar-esque. So I picked dwarf. And I was like, okay, I either want to be a battle mage, because he seemed pretty cool.
Yeah.
Or I wanted to be a fighter.
Okay.
And I saw some earth abilities. I was like, all right, earthbender. I went fighter. I was like, okay, my conjuring brother, the range, and I'm just going to fucking go in there. And I had all these abilities that I saw that were like, I can just beef up my health, beef up my armor, and just go in there and fuck shit up.
So I'm not like, I'm a magician or whatever, like it's just able to use magic. And I've used earth in my combat. So what I do is like, I block off a section and I leave it to where I can still aim like a fireball or something, and like I'll hit like explosives or like oil or something like that.
Okay.
So I block it off so that I can't get damaged in case like the explosion.
It's like a barricade.
Yeah. And so I'll hit that, and like everything on the other side just gets wrecked.
Nice.
So that's usually how I play it.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking up builds later for like how to build your characters.
Yeah.
As far as I'm like, okay, I'm gonna follow some of these. But what was funny was you start on this boat, and you're just supposed to like figure shit out and play.
Yeah, you're a prisoner in right? Yeah.
But like you can explore, and like they're used to D&D being like turn, everyone takes a turn. He's like, no, you just roam until combat. Combat, you all take.
You turn the way, yeah.
And when we were on the boat, it was like we were supposed to take this rowboat off, and we're like, let's go back through the ship now that it's all nuked up, and like see if we can loot shit. And we spent so much time there that the thing just the whole ship sunk. I was like, did we lose? And it's like, no. Now instead of on a rowboat, you just wash ashore.
Yeah. I think that happened to me too.
Okay. So that was.
But
we didn't get much further than that.
I found an assassin when I came back to the boat after it was nuked. I think there
we
was
killed
an
her.
assassin. Yeah, I fought her too, and I mean, I save scum in these games, so
okay.
like if I die,
That's cheating.
reload less.
Well, playing in a
Perfect
group
gameplay,
one,
dude.
we had to like keep a group save. So I'm the host, and they can't play with these characters unless we're all playing.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to play more of that. And then the last thing I'll say is Destiny 2 is like the season was picking up again, and I was getting into the loadouts. So I have a loadout now where I just have infinite grenades, and I looked up some other loadouts where I'll have infinite overshields.
Is it infinite grenades if you like meet a certain thing like criteria, like actually kill an enemy?
Yeah, you have to do certain things. So for instance, I have certain mods.
Yeah.
I have one stat, my discipline stat at max.
Okay, discipline is grenade recharge?
Yeah, that's grenade recharge.
Okay.
So I have that at 30 seconds, which is the minimum it'll be if you max it out. And then I'm wearing a certain exotic glove that boosts how much you regen on grenades, on your grenades. And then of the subclass, like of the void one, if you pick the top tree, you have an ability where you hold your grenade and it becomes like a boosted grenade.
Yeah, super grenade.
And when I throw it, it lets me do the other things super crazy, like much more. And then I had some mods and just. And then the melee also, like when you melee, it adds to your grenade energy.
You absorb.
So I'm like, I have 3 different ways to regain my grenade energy. And then I was like, okay, I want to make some other builds, and I saw a couple others. But the what happened this week is they launched the Moments of Triumph, which every year I'm just like, all right, you got me. So I'm back in.
I'm assuming the same way where like when you get them, you can also buy those specific ones.
The shirts?
No, the medallions or whatever.
The seals.
Seals.
Sort of. So like, there's a seal once you get all the Moments of Triumph,
but then like when you
there's a seal for another thing.
When you unlock those seals, you also are able to buy that like a real version of that seal is what I meant. Yeah.
There's many I don't have, but I've been trying to get the ones I can, and I'm close to getting this one. Like they've made it now where raids are farmable.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I want to try some of these because I've never played like 2 or 3 of the raids. And then, one last thing is I got the latest update to the iPad.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the Big Sur.
Huh?
Big Sur.
Big Sur. Oh, no, that's the MacBook. iPad has iPad OS,
Big
iOS.
Sur. And I'm Saturn.
It lets my Xbox. I have an Xbox Elite controller, and before it couldn't pair through Bluetooth with the iPad for stupid reason. Now they fixed it, and I did Steam Link. I was playing Hades and Destiny 2 on my iPad when I'm not at my desk.
And is it fluid?
It's pretty good.
Okay.
Like, I wouldn't do Destiny.
Yeah.
I would do Hades, and I did Hades for like a couple hours. So there are the things that I think you just like press through them.
Yeah.
It's literally when you're. It's literally, think of Dead Cells, but like from the people that make Bastion. Like that art style. I'm running through it, and like Zeus is like, "Hey, I'll give you help on this run because me and Hades have some beef we got to figure out. I would like your help." And then I'll fail that run, and then like 2 runs later, he's like, "Zeus again, I really need you to get further than you did last time. So here's another boost." And he's like, I don't know. It's like everything's in continuity.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. So.
I mean, I guess because like also when you do certain things, but like the way I see it is like it's like trigger points. Like if you were to do something, like if you chose Zeus one time, or like if you've never chosen him, and then like 10 runs in, you finally choose Zeus, it'll finally unlock a speak bubble speech for Hades.
Sure.
And he'll be like,
but like those little interactions where they're giving you something, they later call back to him.
Okay.
And that was the part that I'm kind of interested in.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is like unrelated.
Sure.
There's rumors that Microsoft's going to buy Warner Brothers.
Well, everyone is like looking to buy it.
If they buy it, buy Warner Brothers. Mortal Kombat is an Xbox exclusive.
It'll be on PC.
No, only Xbox exclusive.
It won't be that way.
But I'm just saying, would you buy an Xbox?
No, not for Mortal Kombat, dude.
I'm testing the limits. I know the max. I need to know the min.
The max is $100.
No, the max is KOTOR.
Yeah, KOTOR 3 or 4
or
whatever.
remake.
Yeah,
either.
That's the max. I need to know the min.
But they're not. Okay, I guarantee you, even if they get them, they're not going to make it console exclusive.
I know.
But that'd be crazy. Like if it's like it comes with the hardware only. Yeah, I saw that and it was like, this is a smart move to just leak that info to now make it desirable that everyone wants it. So, anyway, yeah, I played that. I was messing around with the iPad, and I was like, guys. Anyway, let's get into it. Last of Us 2. We've all beaten it.
Yeah.
We're gonna spoil it for listeners. Just know we're gonna talk about
spoiler class we're in right now.
Yeah,
I think we should talk about what we knew. Spoilers.
Sure. You guys
Before-
both had stuff spoiled for you.
Yeah.
I remember the episode we were talking about, and you were like, "I just got something spoiled from."
Well,
oh no, you
honestly,
did because you went to
the
games.
spoiler I read. I still think it was a troll. Like the guy didn't know anything, and he just like wrote two things. Like he knows
What
the
do you
main
write?
characters. So for me, I read like it was super quick. Like it was on a comment section, and it
Twitter,
literally
right?
just says Joel and Ellie die. That's like all it said. So like I read it down, and it's so short, like you can't not read it, you know. So I read it, and I'm like, it's enough internet. And so like I closed it down. I was like, fuck. And so the whole time I'm like, shit. Like I literally like even displayed it. I was like, Ellie's gonna fucking die. Like I already fucking know. Ellie's gonna fucking die.
Okay.
When Tommy
So-
dies, right?
So then, no, he betrays him, right?
Yo,
I liked it. No, I liked your
I was
guess.
trying to pull a Jake.
Yeah.
It's like
No,
random
Jake. Okay, you tell us what you knew because I was like, "Why are you?" I'll get into it.
the comments that I saw, I forgot where it was. I think it was like a YouTube comment. Joel dies,
Okay.
and the trans character kills him.
Okay.
Second part is fake.
It's
and then
women
okay.
can't be that buff, dude.
And then, so one of my videos, people kept on putting, like, this wasn't really a big spoiler. They're like, golf story part 2. Like, I'm just like, what the fuck? But then the Joel being dead was being confirmed because people kept on commenting about that. And I was like, fuck. And I was trying to delete it. After a while, I couldn't delete the comment. It was just too much, and I stopped. So those are the two things. The second part did not happen.
So, I remember Jang going through his run. I had already played at this point. I knew one of the golf one, but then when you kept like on the stream being like, "Is she?" I don't know if she like because you were like that second spoiler, and I'm like, "Is it?
That's too
Should I
funny.
correct you?" Because I feel like your fixation of that is going to distract you. I was worried. I'm like, I had asked you, and you're like, "No." And I'm like, "Okay."
Because it's too many muscles, dude. Too many muscles.
Man, the reception. Okay. So then,
fucking bad,
I don't think the only thing. Okay, so before it came out, I listened to a podcast, and people kept because embargoes were very tight.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't really say anything about the narrative, but they're like, "Well, it's a revenge story, and you play as Ellie, so I wonder what she wants to get revenge for." And that's how they kept phrasing it, and I was like. I feel like I just hadn't thought about it long enough to think about what this narrative could be of the bulk of the game. And I was like, I'm pretty sure something is going to happen to Joel. I just don't want to think that. I feel like it being Naughty Dog, I wasn't set on them being like they're going to kill him. I thought they would do something horrible to him instead. Given how they ended the last one, they were like, oh, it's not going to just be a simple end. They do a Naughty Dog twist. And so I was like, they're going to do something, and I'm going to be very uncomfortable with whatever happens. And I mean, I was very like those opening hours. I was just like, fuck me. Like the way they shot it, the way the music was. So anyway, I didn't really have much spoiled for me. I don't think going into it.
But I knew they were gonna do like a two-sided story, like because that's the only way you can put impact on like another character.
So you knew that from the beginning?
Like I felt like I mean I didn't like know like read it, but like as soon as like you start the game and you go to this other character, I was like, we're gonna do a two-sided story, essentially. And sure enough, and so when you guys were saying like you'll know the halfway point,
Yeah.
I was like, so I didn't like I don't consider it a spoiler, but like I would like see someone playing Last of Us, like not like him specifically, but and I would like open it as like a secondary window on Twitch, and I could see like I'll just like super quick glance and then like you know
I've done that. You're like,
and so then I saw the
Or what if
that-
you saw the dee-dee-dee-dee?
I saw that there was more gameplay of her, like you playing as her, and I was like, okay, it's probably going to be more of that. But like, my thought was like it was going to become like
I mean-
a portion of her, portion of her, portion of her, portion of
Also,
her.
this is kind of like spoilers. I mean, he makes good shit. Sunhide Legend, he was posting like Abby like
Yeah, we're spoiler
highlights.
class. This whole thing's spoiler class.
He was posting Abby highlights. So
Yeah.
oh,
If you
Neil
were to-
Druckmann?
No, Sunhide Legend.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
You're right.
you would smooth ass cinematic.
Yeah, you would notice. Oh, okay, you play as her.
Yeah. Okay, so going into it, what did you guys think of like
I hated it. I'm just
the
kidding.
game? Like,
Well, the beginning, I didn't think they were going to start off like that. The
Game of
reveal-
Thrones, dude.
Joel
Joel talking to Tommy.
Yeah, about the thing. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that was a weird way to end it. No, start it. I was like, what?
So is Tommy his true brother?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't look like.
I don't
they
know.
look
Yeah.
alike.
So I
They
don't.
look a little.
I know, like, I think there was conversation of Tommy in the previous one, but for some reason I was like, it's not his true brother, right?
Whenever-
Like, they just hung out for so long. They're like, yeah, we're brothers now.
I think you mentioned it a long time ago, but the guy who's Sons of Anarchy should play Tommy if they ever make a movie.
so. That's where my concept of him possibly being a traitor is, because I thought they weren't true brothers, and so I thought that he's been like a secret wolf this whole time.
Since the first one?
Since when they well.
Neil
We don't
Druckmann's like-
see him all the time, so I
Right,
don't know.
right.
Like, and he was was he a Firefly?
He was.
He was with his brother.
back
Okay.
in the day. Neil Druckmann's like listening to this, like.
So yeah, I thought like he wasn't okay with the decision. So then he was like been feeding information, like like
That's how they knew where to find him.
because they didn't do much to him when they caught him, and I was like, man,
Okay, sure.
man,
Okay. And he runs off ahead. Yeah.
yeah, and he was ahead, and then obviously as you're playing as the other character, I was like, oh,
He's a badass sniper.
oh.
I don't know. There was that part where you find Jesse, and you think it's gonna be him. I was like, man, this guy's a fucking Terminator. It's just like explosions, like just his chaos. He's an agent of chaos, whoever it is. But yeah, okay. So keep continuing. Like, do you want to go through like the whole game and then do an overall at the end, or?
What do you mean, like us just explain as it happens, or
Well, just like your feelings as you went through the game. Like the beginning was a certain way. As you
So-
started playing as Ellie in Seattle, like how was that for you guys? Like, tell me.
I'm gonna have to admit, there was a lot of fucking jump scares that got me fucking good. I'm playing with headphones, man.
Yeah,
And I could
headphones
just,
did it
like,
to
okay,
me.
that's the thing. Yeah,
Like
I played with
the first whistle arrow.
That,
yeah.
fucking was like
fucking my mic.
So I could hear the whist, like as I went into that area, you hear the, and I was like, oh fuck.
Which is funny because our guest, my roommate, he played the whistle. He's like, oh, it didn't scare me. He didn't play with headphones because
Yeah.
you didn't play with headphones, my brother.
Well, it's not that it scared me, but like as soon as I heard that, I'm like, fuck, there's some crazy shit in this
Yeah.
area. So then I'm like playing slowly. I'm like sneaking through the area, and you're doing like the
stealth.
Listening.
What is it called? Yeah,
Detective
listen,
mode.
quiet mode or whatever. And I don't see shit, so I'm like, all right, cool. And so I just start, like you hop up that area, and all of a sudden it's like, whew! I'm like, oh god damn it!
The other one that got me was when you're in Seattle and you jump over the thing and that thing blows
Oh,
up.
the
I was like,
the
"Whoa."
mine. Yeah, that got me
I jumped
too.
back. I was like,
See, sound plays a huge part in like games in general.
Well, these guys, I think they touted something like Neil Druckmann shared a story on the Kind of Funny interview he did where it was like, or
Dolby
someone
Atmos.
did, I forget where, but they no, it was Troy Baker sharing it on a different one. They were talking about how there was a person who was blind and they were really wanting to find a way to play games, and like maybe a game they were like, Naughty Dog is a favorite developer of this person, they would really love to play it, and then like I think they took the ball and they're like, they've made their games pretty accessible, but I think a lot of the sound design became a big part of that, like the way they made it playable for blind people.
Yeah, I read a tweet from someone who was blind, and he's like, "This is the first game I've ever beaten, like on my own.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have help from anyone, and I was able to do that."
So that was pretty cool. And another thing that is kind of cool about like the customization of this is after your first playthrough, if you go to custom difficulty, you can. I was telling Jang, like there's like 5 things you can mess with. It's like encounters, stealth, resources, and like allies, and one other thing. And you can choose which ones are hard, which ones are easy. So you can be like, I want no resources, but I want like really easy
insane.
enemies or something. And like no resources will balance that out or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That forces you to stealth kill or something.
I think the game's a lot easier than the first one.
The
Like
actual,
on normal versus normal, like this one's a lot easier. But certain things they changed, like I said, the bricks don't kill clickers
Yeah.
anymore.
I don't know. Maybe that I feel like after playing it, a lot of people, and I can kind of like, I played on an easier difficulty, and had I died as many times as like you did, I think that would just start like taking away from the narrative, like because of how gruesome And like hearing, like it wasn't so much the ways they're killing, it's the gargling I would hear. Like the name calling didn't really get me either. Like they're like, oh Joel, like John, Bobby.
Yeah.
But it was like, and I could hear every drop that they're gargling. I'm like, God.
There was one thing that got me though. It's like when you killed the human, the dog will go.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, oh man.
That was rough.
And then you kill the dog.
Yeah. Arrow.
Yeah, it's not for people that love dogs. I'll say.
I know that they're saying like it's a choice, dude. I don't know how you're not gonna kill a dog.
So,
like,
yeah, well, Neil or Troy said something like, "There's only one that you have to. Everything else is a possible
Yeah,
choice or something."
yeah.
I don't know. It'd
Yeah,
be cool
yeah,
if
you
you
can
could
just
unlock an ability that would be like knock out a dog.
I think what it should be is if you kill the owner, like the dog
dog just-
will try like for a little bit. I mean, I've
Maybe.
never allowed a dog to stay alive long enough to see, but like they lose interest because their owner, like they get like essentially depressed, and so like they'll try to see because they obviously you like even a dog's gonna want to like probably have revenge or something, but then like once it's like just long enough, they just go back to the body and they just like sit there or like slay there or whatever,
Yeah.
and then that way it's not something that you have to deal with after.
What did you guys think of like the story beats of like the first half of the game, like Ellie and Jesse, like introducing us to Jesse and Dina and everyone in the town and Jackson?
I didn't see any issues. I think it was fine.
Did you? I mean, what did you think of it? Like, did you enjoy it? Did you like it? Any
The only
particular
part I
parts?
didn't enjoy because it was like it was too many cutscenes, and then it goes into a part the snowball fight right in the beginning with it's you as Ellie.
Oh, yeah.
The
with
kids
with the
and
kids.
Dina.
Yeah, I was like, man, like
You didn't care
just
for it?
get into it, man. Let's just start, please. But it essentially like I feel like everything has a purpose. Like this is like a way to show how to like throw things or whatever because it makes you do the
Mechanics.
aim and the throw.
Cover.
Like yeah, same thing with like when you learn swimming.
Yeah.
Same thing when you learn how to take out the arrow.
Yeah.
Like those are all cutscenes that like allow you to like have your own time to figure this out, and then the game gets into it and it's like all right, you're on your own now.
What did you think of
When
the
I
first
saw the Joel incident, I questioned the structure of the story. I was like, this could have been at the end. And then like as you play, they couldn't have told the story any other way. Like I feel like it was too soon.
I don't
Because-
see how you can say that, like, because like that's just the beginning of the story. Like, you don't know like the whole thing. Like, it's so weird to think like if something happens and it's like that could have been in this part of it because I don't know what happened like throughout
Right.
the whole thing. Like,
Well, I think it could possibly be expectations. It's like I wanted there to be a build-up. I feel like there was unanswered questions, and so you already for however many years this game hasn't been around, you've already kind of like thought of a built-up narrative, and to have that just immediately swept,
Yeah.
like off its feet, you're just like,
from my position, from my point of view, when I played it, like when I saw it happen, I was like, I understand exactly where Abby's coming from. Like, well, not exactly. Like I understand that like
her mission.
her mission goal was to take care of someone that at the time, I thought like the main purpose was because they didn't allow
The
a cure to
immunity,
happen. Yeah, immunity to happen. And I was like, I know exactly where she's coming from. Like maybe she's in a position where it would have saved someone's life. It would have saved someone that she sees dear. Like it could have been someone she loved, or a parent or something like that, or like a sister or whatever. And I was like, dude, I understand. I understand why she's doing this. Like it's a revenge thing, and like it's just constant revenge. And so I was like, I'm okay with like this part of the story so far.
So that's even before you know whatever her actual reasons are.
Yeah, I knew the game was going to show me. Like, there's no way the game's just going to be like, murder this person, and then you just go and do your own thing as Ellie.
Okay.
Like, there's like, so like, I was confident in what Naughty Dog's doing, and I was like, I never guessed or like second guessed their decisions in this game.
Okay. Did you like the other like characters, like Dina and Ellie's relationship, Jesse? What did you guys think of those
I
guys?
like Lev's and Abby's.
I didn't care for Dina
Really?
until like the end.
Okay. I think I was a little bit like she's just kind of peppy
Yeah.
up until after the first night, like when she reveals that she's pregnant. Then I think like when Jesse showed up and everything started, I was like, okay, you can see how that's affecting Ellie and how she was like, man, I was falling for her, and Jesse's here, so they did, they obviously will have to take care of this baby. So it's, but then like Dina kept like saying like, no, I'm gonna, we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
But you can see kind of Dina because like she at the beginning where I was watching you play, Jang, it was like Jackson. They're like, "Are you going with her?" And she's like, "Yeah," and then like. The further into that mission they went, you could see Dina's support of it being like, I think we did enough. I think. And Ellie's like, no, it's not done till it's done. And you could see Dina just being like, I don't like where, like, I don't know if she fully understood or if she thought, like, maybe it wasn't worth it. Started being like, it's not worth the cost. And all these other things became more important. Like, there's a moment where Jesse was like, we can either go for the aquarium or we can go get Tommy. And Ellie's like, I'm going for where I think Abby's going to be. Like, Tommy's second now. Like, it's not the priority. And I think, like...
But the context to that is she said, like, the reason I want to go back out there... Because they were like, let's end it. Let's go back. Because that's when Jesse figures out that...
well, they were about to get a boat.
Right. No, well, so... Because before that happens, they're at the theater, all three of them, and Jesse finds out that she's pregnant. So he's like, we can't continue. Like, we have to.
Yeah.
And she's like, you take her back. I'm going to go out there because Tommy's out there. He like risked everything for me. I got to go save Tommy. Yeah. And then it gets to this point where Jesse's like, oh, she's totally going to choose Tommy.
No, I know. And that's what I'm saying is that like all this is like they think their priorities are aligned. And then at that point, you start like he realizes he's like,
this bitch.
Like, we got like there's a bigger world than you're in tunnel vision, and she starts like going her own, and that has its things. But like, what did you think of that moment where she shot the pregnant lady?
I mean, I think you as a player don't even realize she's pregnant at that moment.
Dang. Yeah, you do.
Well,
you do.
At the very beginning of the game.
Okay, if you follow it really well.
Ellie doesn't know. But
Ellie doesn't know. Yeah,
I know.
Sorry. But like, I knew she was Mel, and I knew they had already, but no, wait.
At the very beginning, there was like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I didn't know, you don't know who Mel is at the time.
No, you.
Yeah, you do.
You do.
Do you? It shows her. Well, I guess
they
you're
say
right,
they're talking to each other.
You're right.
She was there when.
But I didn't like. You still like. It's a small thing that like. I think honestly, it's designed to like. Essentially, like kind of make you forget because it's a small thing that's mentioned. Says Mel, but you don't think about it. Like
the part that got me was she's pregnant.
Oh,
Owen's like she's pregnant.
Where Owen didn't give a fuck, and then
I couldn't even hear that part,
man.
Well, it's just like you barely.
Yeah.
Wear the headphones.
He's just like because she's like, where is she? And he's like, it's pregnant.
Gotta wear the
and I was like, what the fuck did she say? And then when she like goes to open like the jacket, and I was like, oh, that's what he said.
I think like the whole time you're seeing out, like there was that moment.
I mean, she said it before. She probably wouldn't have done it. I think. Fuck, man.
Yeah. There was an earlier part too where she first like is trying to get where Abby is, and she's like, it just zooms, it turns away from the girl, and it goes to Ellie's face, and I was like, man, I kind of want to stop pressing square.
I thought that if I like left it alone, like
I was wondering if it was going
to allow her just to turn and you just forget about it or whatever, or you kill her as like,
or you find out a different way.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So I left it alone, but it's like the game is just like they're square, man.
You got it.
You're square, man.
I mean, going back that podcast that they did, Kind of Funny, they were talking about doing it for Joel's death, like controlling it, and they decided not to do it.
Yeah, I think one of the things they talked about in that was the tone, like where do you have control and where do you not, and the tone of a point. So like for instance, there was the point where Joel's daughter dies in the first one, and how that plays out. You don't have control. Well, you have control up to a point, but then it's just cutscene plays. And like the tone of that scene is you're helpless, but you're sad. Like it's like a sense of like the same sense of no control, but in the way it's framed, it's like in a very somber way. In the way it's shot with Ellie watching Joel die, it's same like you can't control anything, you can't play a part, but it's frustration more. It's like anger and frustration, and they're like, we wanted to make sure we nailed that, and we didn't want that to be lost with like.
I think they did a good job because they're trying to like push the feelings that obviously someone in that position that can only watch is feeling, and so you're feeling, or I mean, you should be feeling. I guess everyone's a bit different, but like. Yeah. What Ellie's feeling. She's like, she's stuck. She came there to rescue. Yeah. She's being held down and she's watching this happen and she can't do anything about it.
Here's a question. You know, I don't know if you guys know the answer.
Two.
What if the spoilers didn't get leaked and people played through it and went to that point Do you think the reaction would be the same?
Yeah, no, it'd be like everyone would be like it'd be a bigger story. But then I think the spoilers would be bigger too for like people that had just started playing it.
I think it would be. I think it would have crazy reactions to that moment.
It would have had a bigger impact.
I
for
think
a lot of
would.
people.
I think it would have had more context, and so the type of discussion being had would have been different. It was just. It would have been the same intensity, just a little bit more framework to
I
it.
kind of want to look at what got leaked now to see what people were. Reading.
So they had things that were leaked that weren't even like accurate too. Like it was just like a smorgasbord of different things.
Me, before watching Game of Thrones, I know a couple characters die. It didn't piss me off. Well, maybe because I was invested in it. Like I maybe had to watch season 1 or something.
But so I was under the assumption that like what got leaked was essentially like half, if not more than half, the storyline, the plot line. And then it was very like dulled down versions of you reading like, yeah, this person dies, you know, this person ends up like this way, and that person ends up this way. You know, there's a 2-part to this story, or and then there's this or something like that.
That's still a bit.
The way people talked about the ending, I thought like disappointment with the ending. I thought Ellie died. I honestly thought they both died.
So I watched you play, and I was thinking about that after I'd finished playing. I'm like, I don't understand how anyone has that. Like you showed me that clip of that guy snapping the disc
in his game,
and just people having all these rage reactions. I'm like, even if it's a joke, it's probably like coming from somewhere, and I don't understand. After playing it, I don't understand where you get that strong of a reaction. Then I'm watching Jang play it. And there's a point in the end where Ellie gets in a trap, and her side gets hit, and she just can't get out of it. And I'm like, if the game stopped right there and she just dies hanging there, I would have been pissed. I would have been very pissed. I'm like, okay, that would have been it. But if it clearly isn't that.
What's funny too is like, so when I got to that part, I immediately was like, you know, if it ends here, as long as it continues into Abby's side, I'd be fine with it.
But if it ended there.
Like if it just ended there, yeah, like, I'd be like
credits roll, and you're just like,
because like there's no. I mean, even though like the ending is still left open, because like we don't know what moves on from the ending.
Did you see the new title screen?
The boat.
Did you see where it was?
On a beach.
You know what beach?
The one off of that the island that you ended up escaping from.
No.
It's in California.
Oh, so it's Catalina.
Yeah. So it's the
How
boat.
do you know it's fucking Catalina? Does it have? I didn't know the whole thing.
So I didn't know.
Yeah.
I was reading into it and looking. Hold on.
How am I supposed to know that shit?
I'm not. I'm just asking because some people do know. I mean, you're a resident.
I am there.
But apparently that building that's there is a Catalina Island building, and I think many people also were like, that's the same dome thing as
that's Abby's ending.
Right, but that. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Like, I mean,
but part of that is closure. Yeah. It's like you know where that is now somewhere that you didn't know. Like when the game ended, where they just boat off, you're just like.
What's funny too is so when Abby finds the radio and finally gets contact, I'm like, oh, she's gonna meet Owen, and then immediately I was like, oh wait, no.
Yeah, because of the time stuff, you're just like, this is her beginning.
I was like, yeah, because Owen's already in Santa Barbara. I was like, oh wait, no.
She's prepared.
What'd you guys think of that narrative structure where it would be like not just the whole Ellie and Abby living the same days going to that point, but also the flashbacks for both of them as a whole, because it's not like orthodox, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, although you can obviously totally tell it's a flashback, and obviously because they're younger. There's a certain way the flashbacks play. Like it doesn't feel like the regular game, and I that's just the one thing. It didn't feel like. I don't know. Like normally it was like it's like a limited area, like not a limited area, like where you can go.
Yeah.
Like you can't use your menu
compared to Seattle.
Yeah. Well, compared to compared when you're playing the moment where like you could possibly run into like an ambush or run into enemies or whatever. I can go like left and switch to my guns. I can do this, and in the cutscenes and the flashbacks like. That doesn't happen until you're about to get into an actual fight scene. All of a sudden, like your menu is active for you to get a gun, and then I'll know like, oh, I'm about to like fight something or something's about to go down. And I hated like the very beginning where like it starts out with like you not being able to do anything. It's just like a walkway for you to get to that point.
It was talking like you're getting the story.
Yeah, that's true. But
I thought you liked some of that stuff earlier on, like the museum stuff.
Yeah, the museum itself, because I could see that as the actual part, but like those beginning transitions, I don't know. There's something about them that I wasn't like I'm never gonna do this again because of these transitions. I just like they were disfavorable to me compared to like everything else.
Okay, what did you think?
I'm thinking about structure wise.
Yeah.
Like what Abby went through. Well, so I think this might be a hot take. I think being empathetic, you could kind of like understand Abby's motivation. So what happened to Abby when she was younger was what happened to Ellie. Like her, I guess, father died within the first 2 hours. So that was Abby from the little girl to now is what Ellie went through from her short journey. Just that rage going up to that point. So I just structurally, thought that was fucking genius. Shout out to Neil Druckmann, dude. Dr.
It was Neil and Haley.
Yeah, okay, there's two people. I keep on saying Neil Druckmann, but he's a co-writer.
I just want to give her props.
Haley,
I forget her name.
Stanfield?
I'll look it up. I really liked, like, those were the juicy parts of the story for me. I liked Haley Steinfeld. No, not Steinfeld. That's a different person. I'll find it. Sorry, I'll find it when someone else is talking. I'm like some artist. I felt like when I started the museum part, I was like, "Where's this going?" That was the only time I felt that way. Where it's like what you're saying.
Because you didn't go on the top of the dinosaur.
But like when I got to the where it was going with like Joel and Ellie, I was like, "God damn it, he's dead." And like I think it hit harder, and I was like, that like just hit me on every way it could have, the sound, the scene, and everything. So then when it went to the other ones, I was like, oh, this is a nice change of pace, because while I enjoy the combat, I also don't care. I just want to get to the story beats, and so I know the meat of it is like the combat, and it's great combat, like the mechanics and everything.
Both.
Huh? No, they're both good. It's just if I were to pick one, it's obviously for me going to be the story. I'm like, that's the juicy part of it. I can sink my teeth into. And when they did the one where it's like you and Tommy firing the sniper, and then it leads to you and Joel going into that place to like check it out, but then it's like, oh, we can get some guitar strings, and it's just you two talking. And it just feels like this tangent, and you're like, okay, this is a side adventure, but then it ends on the whole, her asking him one more time, like, what, like, are you telling me the truth? Like, the way they, when they showed that Tommy one at the beginning, I was like, how is Tommy's going to play a big part in this?
Right.
And so I kept thinking about Tommy, and then I just saw that scene, I was like, oh shit, that's a fake out, maybe. Like, it was a fake out. Like, Tommy never talked to her about it. Yeah. And I'm surprised too, because at the end, I would have thought he would have said something about Joel in that year. But the way they were revealing what they've gone through since the first one ended, that we were like, will she find out? How will Joel tell her? It just hit me in all the ways that was like, she's upset, but at the same time you're finding out it was in the past, so now in the present you feel remorse that he's still gone. It's like, you're like, I'm mad at you, but I'm like, fuck no, I'm not, I miss you. And I'm like, god damn it, I feel the same way.
That fucking song, dude, that jam song.
Yeah.
God, dude.
God. Yeah, she keeps like,
see, when you replay it, there's that scene before she does Take On Me, she starts singing the song, and it hits you. I'm like, fuck, because you know what happened. Yeah. I was like, god damn it hits a different way.
The Abby ones, at first, I'll say, I was like not here for it. I was like, can we just, I'm so pissed off at her right now. Like, especially, it just builds you to this fever pitch.
That's funny.
See, I'm different.
After she takes out Jesse, and then it just cuts, and then you're like, play as Abby.
And you're like, fuck that bitch.
I was like, not right now.
It was a good shot.
I was like, not right now.
It was a good shot, though.
It was a good.
It was a clean one, dude.
Just it was like that rollerblade kid that gift today. Poor
when
Jesse.
She first shot Joel in the knee, I was like, oh shit, okay.
No, but like the way I thought it was perfect, because I felt like they got me the way they played me. I was like, you know, I'm pissed off right now, and now you're making me. I'm like, fine.
This is like a little bit off topic. You know what's fucking smart was when Ellie explained the interrogation tactic.
The map?
Yeah, Joel did it in the first one, but he never. It was never explained. Joel did it to someone.
Yeah.
And then
Remember?
she explains it.
She's like telling them both.
Yeah, she's telling him. Like,
could tell she was a
she's like,
noob.
This is
Yeah.
what you have to do. Like, you
Yeah.
have to, like,
Do you remember the scene in the first one with Joel?
yeah, he's looking for Ellie, and then
Yeah.
she pops the thing on his kneecap, and
Yeah.
he's gonna pop the kneecap. And he's like, "Tell me where she is."
Yeah.
I was
And
like,
then
"Oh
he
my
asked someone
God."
else, or
There was two people.
Yeah.
And then now pointed to.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh,
So what I thought was interesting with Ellie trying to do it was, it's a moment where she's like, this whole time she's trying to be someone she's not really.
Yeah.
Like she's trying to be this badass, merciless, like Joel Tommy kind of guy, and she's struggling with it. Like you can see every time she gets like close to there, she's like, I don't think I can handle this, and it just pushes her further and further. When she did that one, I feel like she completely lost control of that whole scene.
Yeah,
Like she went in
allowed
with control.
Yeah, she allowed Owen to get so close to her. Like,
Well, she was just like, I'm gonna do this. This is gonna
Yeah.
trick you guys. And then they're like, what do you want us to do?
they wrote it in blood. Like,
But
And
like,
then, yeah.
when Owen was like going closer and closer to her, you could see he's like moving to a point where he can see the map.
Yeah.
To see where she points, and he can just point
Wait.
the same one.
Even regardless, I just feel like that says so much about Ellie, of like how not in control she just lost. Like over that 3-day arc, she just becomes less and less in control.
I can also see that exact moment with the map, her desperation to find Abby, because she's given up so much. She like left Tommy alone, left Jesse alone.
She's just like,
for both
I
of
don't
them.
give a fuck.
Yeah, I was like, if I can need, and it's also like, I feel like for most like revenge things, time is of the essence, because as time moves on, your rage, your furiousness for this moment goes away.
Not if you watch Old Boy. That's a revenge.
How many years?
No, I agree. I just feel like they did it so well. Like they captured that arc of her just slowly losing that control and just temper, and letting this obsession just like, it was like a drug almost, I thought. But yeah, again, then it goes into Abby, and I wasn't there for her narrative early on. I was like, I sympathize. I'm starting to understand, and I was opening myself more and more to it. And I think when I started to see the dynamic between her and Owen is where I started to, I think, care more, because you see this energy in Owen that was just like, we're doing this, but we're doing it so we can go to someplace happy or do something. But you see that same parallel, like what you're saying, where it's like she's not on that. She's still latching onto this moment, and it's haunting her, and it just like, you're frustrated as a player again, but in like, you want these characters to just like fucking stop, like be happy. Like that's how I was. I was like, I just want these people to like,
Yeah, because as you play as Abby, you realize like she had all these opportunities to just like
live a life.
to live a life, to be
I mean,
happy.
same thing with Ellie. too.
Yeah.
She had a choice.
And like having played that for the first game and seeing so many people struggle to find happiness, to find protection, safety, whatever, they have all of that. And because they need to follow this series of just like acts that like just repeat upon themselves, it's like, not only do they ruin it for themselves, they pretty much took out all of Seattle, like between like some of
And
those.
that's gonna get back to her. I mean, it could, right?
It
Just her
could.
killing all those people. Like, it's just revenge just begets more revenge.
It, like seeing how like Abby's story, like how she was in the midst of this war of the Seraphites versus the wolves, that final day where it culminated, I was like, these people have a self-sufficient island, and these people are like, they have a stadium with fitness equipment and all this shit, and it's like, you both could live in peace and be fine. But it's like that Fallout thing of like,
I mean, it is what it is now. Like for us, the United States could live in peace, but here we are, like fucking.
True. It's just like seeing it reach that, like having gone through everything we have in history, it repeats itself and everything. You're just like, even after a zombie apocalypse, you found something and you still,
Bro, for me, one of my favorite ones is fucking Yara, dude. When they're escaping the island, it's Yara, Lev, and Abby.
Yeah.
And they finally get through an area, and then Yara ends up having to. She moves a little further down, and then she ends up having to fight a wolf that just popped out of nowhere, and she gets shot in the stomach, and essentially it's shown that she's dead. She just lays on the ground right there, and then Abby goes and beats the shit out of that wolf. I mean, I thought she was gonna shoot the guy, and she ends up just like hitting him with like the butt of the gun, and like really fucking hard, and the guy just gets knocked out too. And then more wolves come, and you see Isaac come, and fucking Yara blasts Isaac in the back, and then
was a
these
boy.
guys, dude, everyone fucking blasted Yara, dude. It was, oh my
Dude,
god,
that was brutal.
That shit was
Yeah.
insane. But I mean, like, it wasn't like, for me, it wasn't like oh god, like.
Well, it was just
but
brutal.
I was
Like,
just
it felt like
holy
a Quentin
fuck,
Tarantino
dude.
moment.
Yeah, dude. I
Like
was
when they shoot Hitler in the theater. That's how the vibe of the violence got
dude.
to.
And it happened so fast, dude. It happened so, it was just like, and then they like move on to the other person's.
I was watching Jang play it, and he was like, "Someone's gonna say, but who? But who?" And I was like, "Blah."
One thing that threw me off was I went to the PlayStation Experience and got my Last of Us signed, but Lev was there. Lev is a dude. Voice actor's a dude.
Yeah.
So when I was playing Lev,
I'm not gonna lie. I thought Lev the whole entire time was a dude until
I was
they were
confused.
Like, and then until they were like, he's a bride to, or what is it? He's
He's gonna be one of the brides for the.
yeah, but they
the
named,
people.
there was a different word for it, but essentially
a
he
Lily
was,
or something.
well, that's what they
No,
named
that's their
him,
name.
but he's meant to. It was, I don't know what the word is, but he's meant to just get married on her. They were meant to get married.
When I heard the name, like they called him by a different name. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I put two and two together. I was like, oh, okay.
So okay, maybe I still haven't gotten it. Is it a girl meaning to be a boy?
She's trans. That Lev is trans.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
So that was the one where I think people, maybe the spoilers were even incorrect. They were like, a trans character's there.
I feel like the spoilers is someone had like overheard information. Like, there's a trans person.
Who knows, yeah.
There's death.
Could've
There's
been.
this, and he's like, okay, trans person kills this person, and then that's just how it kind of happened.
But I don't know. What'd you guys think of Lev and Yara?
I liked Lev. He reminded me of 11 from Stranger Things, season 1. Season 1, he's like, we're not allowed to cuss. Hey, fuck those guys. He's like, yeah, fuck those guys.
Did you care about them?
I don't know, like,
Their story, their mom.
Yara was whatever, but Lev I liked.
I felt so bad for Yara after the way she got her arm clipped, and just like them being like, we can try to do something. It's like, no, that arm's gone. Like, and then Lev trying like the things Lev would do to try to help her, and like I think through Lev learning about Yara, that's how I feel like we don't really spend much time with Yara.
yeah.
Compared to Lev, and Lev telling us all this stuff about Yara of like, she came with me. Like, I feel like me leaving caused her to leave, and she could have just stayed, but
Yeah.
like they could all these things. I'm like, man, that sucks. Like, and I believe Yara was the older sibling too,
Yeah.
so she was just kind of to watch over him. And then I don't know. Like with Lev, I feel like there was a lot of suffering that Lev had, like outcast from the community.
Seraphites.
Yeah, outcast from the community.
His mom.
Wanting to love your mom, and she's just like, no, if you like, the sister was like, no, she's gonna kill you or have you sacrifice some. And sure enough, that's happened, and he ends up being the cause of her death. And then Yara dying because you ran back to the mom. I'm like, fuck, how further down like can you go? And like
They get caught.
yeah, and then they got,
He gets punched by Guy Fieri.
dude, that was a
Hits the
brutal
garage.
hit. Like, yeah, and the Santa Barbara stuff. But like, I feel like something about her, the belief system she had, like the fear and like how all these things, when that whole thing about what fear does to you, I thought was such a, it reminded me of Dune, where she was talking about, or he was talking about, fear heightens us. It's like fear shows us the potential of our strength of our stuff, because when we're afraid, we act in ways we don't normally do. And so think of your fear as a strength. And I remember thinking of Dune and being like, let the fear wash over you, and when it's gone, all that's left is you. And like that's what it is. Like, man, Lev's got, like, for a young kid, Lev's got a lot of knowledge, wisdom.
Fuck those guys.
But their relationship reminded me of God of War too.
I love
Kratos
the,
and boy.
That Lev explains that the Seraphites have now kind of made the religion their own
Very true.
by bringing in violence, and so when Abby is questioning him, like, why the fuck are they doing this? Like, it doesn't sound like you're the person
You're
that
doing
you
what you're
follow would
preaching.
do this. And he's like, well, after she died, they started going more extreme. He's like, this she would have never wanted this when she was alive.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, like, and I feel like that's kind of what happened, like in religion nowadays.
Yeah.
Like it moves. It's been so long that like it's like that.
People take it for their own.
It's like how when someone says a secret and they pass it on, and by the time you listen to the next secret, like they've changed words
Like
and
that preacher with that. Why do you need an airplane? It's like, you ever seen that interview? Oh, I gotta show it to you. It's fucking creepy, dude. All right.
But yeah, like it's just like over time, what the teachings are said is changing, and like people are like it, like in the originality was one thing, and then like someone wanted to change it to their own, and then all of a sudden now it's
and they want it to serve a purpose that they want.
Yeah, so now it's preaching violence as opposed to peacefulness.
Same with Isaac. I thought.
Oh yeah.
He was a character. Do you know who plays him?
No.
Do you remember
John Wick?
No, Westworld.
Oh, the guy at the very end, the
Bernard.
Yeah, Bernard.
Yeah. The voice, I was like, oh my god. It was good. What else? I mean, we could start talking about the endings, I should say.
So
Lord of the Rings.
when I told you, I was like, "Am I in chapter 11?" I thought it was the ending, and I'm assuming he probably thought the same thing. I was
With the fight at the theater,
no. Chapter 11 for me was
or the farm.
oh no, what was it?
I thought the farm was the ending. Dina.
I did too.
Was that for me when I sent you? I don't remember when I sent you. Am I on chapter 11?
Fucking, okay, well, at the farm, when Tommy comes in, it's like, you I'm like,
Dude, I didn't
got
even
pissed,
think he was alive.
oh yeah, that's true.
When the
He got
theater,
fucked up.
I was like, he's dead.
Yeah.
When she shot, I was like, oh fuck, there goes him. And that whole fight, I want to just say, Abby and Ellie playing as Abby, despite coming around to like seeing things from her point of view, I still didn't want, like, if I had to pick, I'd be like, I want
Team Ellie.
I was Team Ellie, and I was even regardless of Team Ellie, I was like, I don't want to be Abby killing Ellie as the player. I was like, fuck you if that's how you're making me. I was like, that was another point where I was like, that's why people are pissed. That's where it would end.
You're the other player.
Because when it was times where it's like you got to press circle to choke her out, I'm like, no. And people have freeze framed it where they're like, it's a weird Ellie face. She's just like. But it was crazy how like you see both of them playing to their strengths in that fight. Like she's just this Hulk, and it was like the closest thing I've seen to Hulk versus Wolverine. Because Ellie's just this scrap fighter.
Bro, the change in Abby from her being like that to her having been captured.
Oh my!
Holy fuck! So
shit.
when you're like, what's happening? I'm like, I'm trying to find Abby in the pillar.
I'm like,
I immediately
I'm like looking at the wrong person.
no.
Like,
So I immediately went to Abby and I'm like, not her. And I kept moving around. I'm like, where is she? And all of a sudden, like, I was like, is it her? She's the only one that has the fucking clothes on. And so I like walked up to her again. All of a sudden, it's like press triangle. I was like, oh my fucking god, it doesn't look anything like her.
What'd you think? Going back to the fight again in the theater. What'd you think of the moments at the end where Ellie's arm gets busted and she's about to kill Dina?
That's one thing I was like, why isn't her arm fucking broken? Like, I thought she broke her arm to like make her not attack anymore. But after that, she doesn't have any. I guess she could like repair it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just like,
It's not permanently
it's also
broken.
been a very long time. Like
It was a year,
Yeah, because
I think.
obviously there's already been the birth and everything. So yeah, okay, never mind.
But I mean, outside of that, what did you guys think of that? Was that grab you?
I thought Dina was gonna kick it because of what happened earlier.
I fucking
was
hated
like,
Ellie in that one, in that gameplay, because like she's over here.
Oh, the
like,
fight?
You hear her go. Zzz, zzz. I'm like, you fucking bitch. Come on.
Why did I upgrade you? Maybe that's why people are playing no upgrade.
Oh, maybe that's it. They already know how the game works.
I don't know the way all of those moments where it builds up to those fights, the way the music builds up to it like. Again, wearing headphones, it feels like my head and my heart are just pulsing. I'm just like,
What's
and it's like
crazy
intense.
before that fight, the way it was set up, there was going to be an altercation. I thought it was going to be like a firefight, not like a.
Yeah, because they don't show in Ellie's point of view that Lev is there.
Yeah.
But then when you hear Abby,
Which is obviously a story point, because if you know Lev's already exists, and you're
Think,
like, you're gonna
who's
know-
Lev?
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, that makes more sense too. But anyway, okay. So going past that, the farm. What did you guys? So you thought it was the end there?
I love the way Ellie looked on there. I
In
don't
the
know
farm.
why. Yeah.
Yeah. I liked
loved, like,
the way the
that
relationship
short hair.
was.
Look, well, how does it? She has long hair the whole time, right?
She has longer hair.
Yeah, and then that
it's
shorter
cut a little
hair.
bit shorter.
Yeah, I don't know why. I was like, well, this is like my favorite Ellie look so far.
I don't know. I was like, you guys found.
It's crazy how like. So obviously, the ending before that, Abby's like, "Don't ever let me see you again," or whatever. And when it goes 1 year ahead, and like they're living a family, I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like Ellie, I would have taken it as a compromise. Like she like because Ellie knows she had killed a pregnant person, which she would have known was her friend. And then so when she goes, she's pregnant, and like she allows her to go, I would have been like, you know what, dude, like Abby's like a better person than me. Like that's something I would assume she thinks of, and so she's allowing, like she's like, we're gonna compromise. I'm gonna allow Abby to leave and live her life, and I'll live my life. But she starts having these haunts or whatever.
They brought that up in the kind of funny thing where like she let him go when Joel died. She let him go, and then when they meet again, she's like, "You wasted it." They mentioned that.
Yeah.
She's speaking to Ellie.
That was the other
wasted
thing
it.
of like that moment for Abby. The first time that she lets Ellie go was from that point on was her after revenge, and she's like, I'm still like, this is continuing to ruin things.
Yeah.
My path of revenge, I'm not like, it's following me now, and it's causing all these problems. And I think when she gets to that point that you're talking about, she's like, you didn't have to go the route I went. Like they don't realize they went down the same path, but now Ellie's reaching that point, and she's like, it's like she's talking to herself.
Yeah.
Like if she could go back in time and be like, you wasted everything. Like if I could have gotten like that feels like it hit home even more. It's like not only she's talking to Ellie, she's talking to herself. And that they both are so in like similar yet so like they don't know anything about each other.
I thought so in that moment because like she's literally about to kill Dina, and Lev's like, Abby, and I thought she was gonna be like, I told you to know me. Like I thought that would have happened, dude.
I mean, I was literally
Lev would have been like, I have no one else to fucking follow. I still gotta follow you, bitch. Like I can't do anything about it. You know, because like Lev could just run away, you know, and be like, oh, she's a monster. But I thought that was gonna happen. I was just waiting for. I was like, dude, like she killed her. Ellie killed her friend that was pregnant too. So it's like, because even then she was like, good. Like I was like, oh fuck.
She had a look of like this. You've made this sweeter for me, or something.
Exactly, dude.
It was like, freaky. Yeah, I mean, the performances were great. Like they sold it. Like any which way, I was like, I believe whatever's about to happen.
They were like those other characters in Hamilton, you know.
Jefferson.
The part that I don't know if this is I don't think it's towards the end. The part that got me, like you're talking about how you broke down, was the part when Joel at the dance. He's like, when he stood up for her, and he's like
I had chills. I don't know why.
I was tearing up.
Yeah. Like when they do the flashback of the night.
No, I know, but I think because that's towards the end. I don't think I was like emotionally there, because like I didn't. There's that point. There's a point where at the very very end where like she has a flashback of talking to Joel. And
the porch scene?
Not is it on the porch? No, it's like porch. Yeah, the porch scene.
The porch scene.
Yeah, and she's like,
that's after that.
He's like, I don't think I can forgive you, but then she's like, I want to try.
I want to try.
And I was like,
I broke.
But
down.
I didn't like. It wasn't like because that was just as much, if not more, than the astronaut scene. But I don't know. Like I was like, okay. Like I don't know.
Damn.
But that scene though, you don't know. The falling out.
What?
The scene where he goes into the room and it's like, oh, they want to hang out again. Like they want
the guitar at the beginning.
Yeah. You don't know that.
Yeah.
That hits differently when you play.
Yeah, exactly. So you realize like
after that fucking moment where she yelled at Joel, like, don't stick up.
Yeah.
I was like,
and this was the night before. Everything went the way it did, and that's where
when they awkwardly like go. He goes in and he's like, "Here's this" or whatever. He leaves the guitar. No. That's before.
That was before.
And then
that was years before.
And then when you're in horseback with Dina, they're like, "Oh yeah, me and Joel, we're gonna watch a movie today."
Yeah.
That's I was just like, "Oh, this hits differently." Because that's the reconciliation.
No, like the several moments hit me at the end, like the moment you're talking about with the dance, the moment, literally the flash during the fight in the water, where she just sees Joel, and it's not, and it like
he's sitting on the porch and just. Like,
well, it was a hint at what was to come, but it was more like she kept seeing flashes of him just in a brutal state, and then flash of him in a peaceful state. I don't know, it just hit me in a way. I was like, oh man, like.
And I took it as like the for me, I took it as like the brutal versions of him, like the beatdown versions, is her trying to hold on to the rage to continue doing what she's doing. But the moment she sees like him just sitting on the porch, like you looking at him, he's like, she knows like he wants. I don't know how to explain it. Like he wants me to accept like the what's happened already, or like don't no longer continue.
Live your life.
Yeah, live your life. Yeah. Like or accept like what's already happened essentially.
But like when then after that you go further into that memory of like him saying like if she's the one that you want to be with, like she's a lucky girl, and then she wants to forgive him. Like I just started breaking. Like I completely broke down at that point. I kind of like. I was exhausted. I was emotionally invested from that fight on, like that final fight in the water. Holy fuck, that fight.
So
that was like the most brutal
that's
fight.
Metal Gear Solid 4.
That fight?
Yeah.
That's Boss?
Huh?
And the flowers? Boss?
No. Metal Gear Solid 4. It's on top of the Shadow Rex.
Oh, that's right.
Boom, which is brutal, dude.
Yeah. It's like two fucking already tired.
So it's like it does Metal Gear Solid 1 style fighting, switches to, and then like Ocelot goes, ugh, and he goes, all right, Metal Gear Solid 2 changes, Metal Gear Solid 3, and then it does to a Metal Gear Solid 4.
He's got different fight
I mean,
styles.
it's also another game. I'm not going to spoil it, but another game does that same thing. They stole it from Hideo Kojima, that fight scene.
Oh, that's right.
Troy Baker, baby.
That's right.
I was gonna say is that Neil Druckmann talks about how Metal Gear Solid 2 was a big influence of his.
Yep.
Like the whole flip of not like Raiden and everything.
Yeah.
On my stream, I would say this is Metal Gear Solid 2 because when it came out, a lot of people hated it because of the switched.
Yeah,
and that happens in this game.
It's funny because like if you generalize it to like the just obviously the bare bones, you're like, all right, it's this game, it's that.
But when
game or
people
something.
talk about Metal Gear Solid 2 now, they don't hate it. I think this game is going to be the same thing. Like,
yeah, like later on it'll be even more
well regarded.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fight, like, oh man, like so many parts of it, I was like, okay, this is the end of the fight, and they just kept going. Like when she stabbed the arm, when she literally gets her in the chest.
I didn't want to fight her, dude.
Yeah.
When I was fighting, I was like, dude, she's in a bad state, dude. Like I'm just like, dude.
Well, so was Ellie.
I would have been happy without her killing her. That's how I felt. But I know a lot of people were opposite, feeling they wanted the revenge story.
Well, because like you're like Ellie's lost everything. Like she can't walk away empty-handed.
That's her fault.
I know, but it's just like you as a player, I think trying to hold on to something.
So was Abby an immune?
I mean,
why would you say?
Because when Tommy came, he lost Maria because of his fucking.
I felt so bad for Tommy,
and I'm like, dude, can't you see what this does to you? Look at Tommy.
Yeah.
Like he lost.
That's what I love about this game, dude. Like it is literally like showing Ellie these moments, and she doesn't like. But
I think it clicked though.
Honestly,
at the
like
very end of that fight, it clicked.
It makes perfect sense, dude. Like growing up, like.
She's 19 in this game.
Like the age I am now, dude, I will see my sister like do certain things, and I'll be like, man, like, why do you do this? You
TikTok.
know. But as a kid, I would have done the same thing. Like I don't grasp situations because I don't know like that, like the not that I know like everything going on around it, but like now I understand. It's like I don't know. It's weird, but she's in that same position. Like she hasn't gone through this moment, so she doesn't know. Like to how to pick out like a moment, like Tommy wants revenge so much more that it ruined his relationship. He wants to continue. That's when Tommy went to her house.
I feel bad because Tommy originally was like, I don't want to go down this road.
Yeah.
And Ellie pushed her into that road. Ellie kept like pushing the trigger button.
And then it was flipped essentially.
And once he went down that road, he lost. Like
They
because
both?
what I'm saying is that he had that linger effect because he's constantly being reminded of it. After the fact, like Ellie was healed and she could maybe move on.
But it's funny how it was flipped. Like in the beginning, Ellie forced Tommy, and then at the end, Tommy forced.
Is like
Ellie.
pushing Ellie.
Yeah, but the reason why I say is because the prisoners, when Ellie, when they escape out of the thing, and Ellie's like asking them, "Where's Abby?"
Pillars?
Yeah, he's like, "She's bit. She's at the pillars."
She's bit?
Yeah, they say she's bit.
No, I don't remember her saying bit.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I'll have to replay it.
He's getting into it
Because I remember them saying is like she tried to escape, and she put her out of the pillars.
she's not
But
gonna
she was
make it.
gonna die. And
Yeah.
like
So I hear. So before she says she tried to escape, he's like, she's bit. And
no,
she's
they're
like,
saying
what?
her. He's like, hey, she's bit, and they're pointing at
Oh
Ellie,
my God.
and they're like looking at her, and she's like, fucking just tell me where she is. I don't have any problem
you
with
don't
you.
have enough time.
Yeah, and
dude,
they're
like-
talking to Ellie about that because they do like kind of like show the bite.
You know, because that was from the
When she's hanging upside down.
Upside down. Yeah.
And that's when the other guy was also like, you don't have much longer, and she's like,
So I didn't catch the pointing or whatever. So I just heard she's bit. I'm like, Abby's bit. So that's pretty much
Tommy betrayed.
So that's why. So then when like she takes her down, and then like I was like, she went, and then you just told me she goes to Catalina. I was like, she's gonna be a fucking infected
Zombie?
over there.
Like, I'm immune. Use me.
I thought there was gonna be a second immune person, and like, so there are moments where like Abby, as you play her, which there's no reason for it to happen, she uses a mask or whatever. Oh no, actually no. The whole time she uses a mask, she's with someone, like Lev.
No, she doesn't have a mask when she's trying to get Lev a mask, or she has a mask.
Right.
But she's not with Lev.
That's true, but like I don't know. To play it safe, I would have like the way Ellie
Or
tries to
the
hide-
hospital.
Was she on her own on the hospital? Okay.
In the down.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay.
The goomies.
Oh,
But yeah.
man.
So
Dude,
We didn't
that,
talk about the inside monster.
we'll talk
that
about
made
it.
me think of
So, okay,
Dead Space.
there was,
that
like-
whole encounter
There was 2 scenes that were really cool. Uncharted is the one where you're in the fucking Hummer.
with Jesse.
Jesse, yeah. I was like, Uncharted, this is fucking cool. And then the inside monster, which is chasing after you.
Dude, the moment you're like, I got the kit, put it down, you're like, dude, don't look up, and you're like, like,
So
Man.
I'm assuming that's patient number 1.
in that area, in Seattle.
Patient 0. Okay. Yeah,
'Cause they said
talk
patient 0 in Seattle,
When
I think.
Abby's talking to her friend Nora.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, this is the location of patient 0 or whatever. It's like, that's why it's like unlooted or whatever. And then you go down and you start seeing these notes where it's like people were like never realized what the fuck was about to hit them.
Shit.
And then when you turn on the power and you go back to this area, I saw doors open. I'm like, I'm in the wrong area. And like I look around, I'm like, wait, this is where I fucking came in from in the beginning. I was like, why the fuck is this door open? As I go in, I'm like, oh shit. Like you see like this shit was torn apart. And I'm like,
And you're in the
think
garage, and I'm just
It's
like,
been-
You fucking kill it, and then there's one like segment of
so
the stalker.
no, for me, I killed that first, and then I killed.
wow,
Oh,
really?
shit.
That
Yeah.
shit was harder for me.
No,
Like,
I knew. Well, I mean, I'm playing again. I played on easier,
Yeah.
but I like triple tapped that motherfucker. I was just like,
The inside
Oh,
guy,
yeah, you
I
went crazy
fucking
on it.
threw all my pipe bombs. I had to build 3 more.
you were running around.
yeah,
you
I
were
was
like,
like,
I never used pipe bombs. I was literally, what did I do? I used flamethrower,
I used my flame shotgun.
shotgun,
nice.
and then I killed it with a pistol. And that was it.
I emptied my flamethrower.
So I guess
through 2
even
bombs.
though I used my bombs, I pretty much used on shamblers. Like that's exclusively it was only shamblers. Or like if I ended up like killing someone and like people gathered there, I'd be like, hey,
Another
everyone just
one.
fucking disintegrates. I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I like
on-
the silencer. It's nice.
So okay, now the ending. I wanted to ask you guys. For Ellie, she leaves the guitar there.
She loses
takes,
everything.
She takes her bag. She walks.
What happens
Where do you
to
think?
her?
Where do you think she's going? For you, like, where do you personally feel like she's going?
I think she like watching everything. I think she'd go back. She's gonna go back to Jackson.
Jackson.
Yeah, and
For what? Just to be a part of the group, or
just to, I'm sure. Like I feel like she would try to get back with Dina.
Dina?
Like she'd like apologize and try to like, but if because like she gave Dina a choice and it was also her choice. So Dina could also be like, you also made a choice, you know, and like allow her not to come back into her life. But like I still think she'd be okay with staying in that community because it's like it's also where Joel was. Like it's allowing her to like. Because I feel like with at the very ending for Ellie, like those memories, like the porch scene, it's her reconciling with him, even after his death. Like it's her accepting accepting his apology, you know, for
Yeah.
allowing her to live and not become a savior of everyone. Which we don't like. We still don't like. It's only that guy or like
the doctor?
It's that doctor, and then rumors that it's a possibility, but.
Well, I think so. now playing this one, I think she was partially frustrated by that, of course, because of all the potential it could have done had it been true. But I think like she said something at the end in the flashback on the porch where she's like, you took away what I was supposed to do. And I feel like having played through where she was at the beginning of this game, she didn't really have like a purpose.
Yeah.
She was just like, I'm living, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. I kind of just do like basic stuff.
I feel like that's everyone's life though.
Well, no, it is, but she before that had a purpose, and she feels removed.
Yeah.
And now she's like, I was one of the few that had a reason to do whatever I was doing in this shithole of a post-apocalypse, and you took that from me, whatever that was, whether it was to sacrifice myself or I would have gone on to live or whatever it was. But like the fact that it was taken away from her and now she doesn't know what to do, I think she kind of puts some of that blame on Joel.
Yeah.
And it was like frustration of that as well. So I think part of my thought is like her now at the end of this game is like, I need to go find my purpose. Maybe like a big part of me really like at the end of when she leaves Dina, I was like, why are you leaving? Why? No. And I was like, don't leave. Like, you guys are happy.
Have it good.
You have it good. But the way I keep like, I know there's the babies involved, but I'm like, they're like 19 years old. So like the way I feel like I'm invested because I feel like it's so sincere and pure, but I'm like thinking, I'm like, okay, this is probably like her first love. Like she's had like the Left Behind stuff where she met and has romance and all this stuff, but like this is like her first true love, and her heart's been broken after because of the stuff that the sacrifices she's done with the obsession and the revenge. So I like ended the game. I'm like, she's going for Dina, and now I'm like, I don't know if she's going for Dina. Maybe she's like maturing and she's like, that ship sailed, I'm gonna move on.
Well, for me, like, because you see the barn scene first. Yeah, well, I mean, you see Tommy come in, and, tells her like, you fucking, that's who you're gonna be, and then she's like, I'll herd the cattle or the sheep, and then you herd the sheep, and then she has like the flashback of trying to save Joel, and she couldn't.
That was
and
before.
Is it?
Yeah. You're going around the place.
Yeah.
You're in the barn.
Oh yeah, you see that, and then
you go back, and then when you go back, then you're in the forest with the rabbit, and then you come back.
Yeah.
And then
she's like, who's this? Yeah, that's right. But anyways, so I don't know where I was going with this anymore. Oh, the flashbacks, like that is like terrorizing her. Like
like she has PTSD.
Yeah, she's not able to live a comfortable life. Like she can't, like it's always there. Like you see she does a regular task and boom, like she's hit with that fear.
The journal, like Jeng, I think was reading, I missed it when you go to her room, she writes about it. She's like, I can't.
I read it too. Yeah. So she's explaining it, and she's like, Dina, I don't know how she puts up with me. Essentially, she explains that. But like, if you read that diary, you're like, how does someone live like this? So she knows, like she feels like the only solution is to finish what she started, essentially, which is, finish off Abby, and so as soon as when did I? There's a moment in that mode I was like, she's gonna fucking go again. And it is the farm scene. Then it is the farm scene when I thought, like, when I first started playing this part, I'm like, oh, day 11, it's over. And then when it got to that point, I was like, oh fuck, it's gonna continue again. This is the point where I think Jang
you thought it had 1 hour left.
Yeah, exactly. So then sure enough, I was like, oh shit, yeah, there's more to this. So then I kind of figured out, I was like, oh wait, I think there's gonna be more. I think she's gonna end up going.
I did feel like Dina, I mean, it's not to the same level, but I did feel like Dina had some point. She's like, I'm doing my part to, like, I've also gone through some trauma in that whole excursion, and the reason I'm dealing with it is because
of you two,
because I'm doing it for a reason.
Yeah,
I deal with it
for you, Ellie, and for the baby.
And I feel like that it was just showing like how who can handle things better. Like they were just like, well, she can't. She's tearing her up, and she couldn't.
You're tearing me apart.
Jen, what do you think? What do you of where's Ellie going?
I don't think Dina would take her back, even if she went back. So she's on her own journey, solo. Yeah. I don't know what she's gonna do. Maybe meet up with the Fireflies, but that'd be kind of weird because Abby and Lev are there.
Well, she wasn't a Firefly, right? Wait, was Joel a Firefly?
No. Ellie adored the Fireflies. She always wanted to meet them, so they're like, we're going to take you.
What about the girl?
She was friends with Marlene.
Yeah, was
Yeah.
Marlene a Firefly?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because Marlene is tasked
the
to
connection.
take her,
Yeah.
and then eventually she passes it on to Joel. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no, Joel had her first. Well, how the fuck?
She's on a solo journey. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
Do you think in part 3?
I think there will be a part 3.
I think
Would
there's
part 3 be
I
one
think the next
story?
one's I think the next one's a prequel.
Really?
I think the
Joel and
next
Tommy.
one, next game is gonna
Uncharted
be
5.
this next game is gonna be similar to those short part games like the Uncharted Lost Legacy, and what's the most recent one that just came out? The one that they said is like not a full game. It's like a
Miles Morales?
Yeah, the Miles Morales one. So I think this next one's gonna be similar to that, and it's gonna be.
Abby.
I don't know. I honestly, I feel like they're gonna choose someone else.
Who?
I feel like there's someone we missed.
Tommy.
I feel
Oh
like
my
there's someone that
God,
survives.
What's that, dude? I feel like Tommy's gonna be on the hunt. And
Dude, what if it goes to
I
Isaac?
feel like he's just gonna be a messed up old man. Like
Does Isaac get shot in the head?
Isaac's
he's gonna
dead.
be the new bartender.
Was it the head?
he got
It
shot
looked
at like
it was-
he got two.
He's gonna be
Was
the
it
new,
double tap?
He's gonna be the new bartender.
That island is burnt.
Doesn't matter. He had
The new bartender.
All the wolves were there. They can easily like patch him up and take him to where they need to.
We're holding on strong to that one.
No. I'm just trying to. I feel like they can easily do this. They can pick a character that we never paid attention to, and if you can, and then they'll expand on that story in this point. They'll be like the reason why we're choosing this character, and then like as you play the game, you realize like holy fuck, like this person.
I would say then Lev.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, there you
I
go.
just feel like he's there enough to be like, okay, he's a character, but
And it
like,
starts out with Abby getting
maybe.
murdered, and then he's like, nah.
but
And
I
then-
feel
Never ending.
I feel like if they were to do a different story structure again, they won't do the same one again because they'll be like, we'll just become that'll be a novelty.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I think they're going to do whatever the story dictates, and I think it's definitely going to involve Ellie and whatever her purpose is. I think she's going to maybe have a rough way of finding her spot of being the older character.
I mean,
Maybe.
so within the wolves, I mean, Ellie pretty much murdered fucking everyone that was in that room, but or they somehow died. But like there was still like there's people that were in relationships. So what if like a spouse is the next character, and you like realize like he wants to murder Ellie because he killed Nora, who he loved.
I feel like that's too.
People would be pissed.
I feel like the amount of connections this had to the first one.
So you
were-
want them to finish this story?
it's part 1,
It's already
part 2, and
finished.
part 3.
It's already finished. How do we know it's a part 3? Is it a part 3?
I said this on stream, but Ellie at the end looked like Linda Hamilton from Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Super lean. And
Yeah,
just
I did.
Fucking.
I just
shit up.
imagine her like looking at the fucking
Training.
fence and then
training for Abby. Whoosh, 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 whoosh.
it was Rocky and Rocky 4 on that last one.
Seriously.
No, but what is it? Did they say there's gonna be a part 3? Or
I mean, they didn't say. They just
Okay.
they said
Here-
they're like, if we haven't figured our story yet.
so what if it's
Here's
Last of Us 2.5?
Here's there was a poll on Twitter. Was Joel a bad guy or was he a good guy?
I think
Or
it's
was
like
he complicated? Is it
complicated. I think like
Yeah, it
it's like
depends
Game of
on-
Thrones. You do bad things, but you might have good intentions.
Yeah.
He denied the world a cure.
Did he? We don't know. As far as he was, so like
What if? Okay, she
I mean,
was
in
the cure.
reality, he that was his. Well, actually,
he's had
no, he knew.
the way I
Never mind.
see it is when this this is just making this sort of thing, like going from his experience of him losing his daughter because of it wasn't the zombies. The people were like, this is what we need to do to prevent this from spreading, and that it resulted in his daughter dying.
You know who I put the blame on?
he was at another point where they're like, society needs you to make another sacrifice, and he's like, not again. I've given my skin. This time I'm saving her.
You know whose fault it was? Tommy for leading him there.
No. The person's fault is that lady in the office with Abby's dad, and she's like, I'm gonna go tell the guy, and he's like, why? He's like,
Marlene?
he has the right to know. And that's why he fucking went back and murdered everyone, dude. Holy shit.
what do you? Okay, so now, what do you think of all this conversation about the game? Like,
I haven't seen it because I've been staying away, bro.
dive in, bro.
Yeah, staying away.
It's just so like
YouTube comments are crazy.
There's all kinds. So from what I've seen, it's just people yelling like, "That's unrealistic body shape for a woman."
Yeah, the boobs, dude, way too small. You know, like.
You heard? No, like, there's no way she could have gotten that jacked in the way she did. The story,
Yeah,
the Joel
people-
stuff,
It's insane, dude. They're like, she only makes estrogens, or female only makes estrogens, and they're like,
the thing
"There's no
was,
way
it
she
was
can get
based on
muscles."
an actual like CrossFit athlete, and you see her and you're like, I mean, when you're set on a mission and you have gym equipment in that Coliseum, you're gonna fucking be pumping.
Yeah, with food.
But even at a young age, she was buff or bigger
She was like,
than
"Oh, I
normal.
can bench this now,"
Yeah, yeah.
and I was like, "Fuck."
And it's true, like
I
people
can't do that now.
people have like, you know how people are like, "Oh yeah, I just burn more calories faster or whatever," or like, "Yeah, I don't have to worry about getting fat or whatever." Like people are just born differently, so one person can retain something
would say-
faster than the other.
This is like more towards The Walking Dead. Like how Norman Reedus is built was probably impossible because they just don't have food to sustain that.
I feel like that's something like that's one of the arguments they're
Just
saying is like there's not enough food to
but
retain.
they have food. That's in
Yeah,
this game.
they're
have
like
food.
a military compound.
Yeah. They
for
have
this.
food here. They have farm animals, crops.
I think another thing that this game, another big part of it was a lot of the rage came from out of context spoilers, and that led to like the mega user reviews dropping hard before the game even came out, or like right the day it came out.
Yeah.
And then what's interesting is like what's everything that's caught in the middle of this. Like people are saying this is perfect, and people are saying this is just they're just raging. There are people that are criticizing it and saying this isn't. I don't feel like this game is good or whatever. And they have their reasons, but they're being dismissed as part of that same group. And I feel like
Do you think media matters? Like if this was a book rather than a game that you played through, do you think it would have had
no, I don't feel like books are in the precipice of like culture right now. Like movies and
Okay,
TV,
they're in the very bottom.
But
Yeah.
like if it became like as good or like as well known as Harry Potter, like there'd be like a large audience for it compared to other books, obviously. But so do you think it would have the same like reception where people would be? I don't know. I feel like I feel like the reason it had so much controversy is because of the leaks. More than normal, I guess.
I think
don't
that
know.
plays a part, but it's dealing with so many
Yeah. There's so
many things that are not like just pleasant.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we're gonna take a AAA game, we're gonna take this mega studio that's become a best-selling PlayStation game, and people have been hyped for 7 years, and we're gonna throw like a little bit of everything. It's like we're gonna throw some leaks out there, piss some people off. We're gonna do some actually like crazy stuff.
Two
like
delays.
we're gonna
Cancel one delay.
We're not gonna just do like a story about who you thought. We're gonna kill a character you love and have you play as the killer halfway through the game. I think those are bold. Like it's not like something a normal like someone of Call of Duty,
there
Mario.
isn't another game like that. I can't think of another game that does that. Like
on this high
like
of a
that
level.
structure
Like,
and that.
What's funny is I felt we were gonna play it as a different character, and then it was
Well, I mean, you play as a different character in the beginning.
in
right
the
at
beginning, but I meant like I knew that it would continue later in the game because like as soon as that moment happens, you realize like Ellie's gonna want revenge on this. She's gonna want to kill this person. But if the game just takes you as Ellie the rest of the way and she finishes her mission, that's not as impactful as you knowing the other person that you're trying to get.
sure.
So like I don't know, when I got to that point, I was like, dude, there's gonna be more Abby gameplay, and this is before I even saw people because I played that first 2 hours like the day after it came. No, on Monday or no, sorry, Tuesday is when I
week
got
after.
it. So it came out on what, Friday, I think. Yeah, and then I played it on the following week on Tuesday. So I didn't. There was people that weren't far enough yet for. Well, I guess people could have technically beaten it already, but I didn't watch anyone play the Abby version of it. And yeah, immediately I was just like, it's gonna be. And then obviously I could see those moments, but like I felt like it wasn't a spoiler since I already had that feeling and that thought.
This
so.
is like criticism versus the first one. Like the first one, I would never skip a cutscene. And this one, I mean, I'm gonna watch my second playthrough. I'm gonna watch all the cutscenes, but there's some cutscenes there I could just skip.
Like which ones?
Sex.
I don't know, just there's a lot. Like the first one had a lot of memorable moments. Like Bill's town. Like this why are the pages all sticky?
Like, I felt that for me I mean it's still I like both, but I felt much more engrossed in the ones in this one. But it could have just been because
you wanted to know.
I don't know. There was the performances were a certain way. The really good ones made me think that I could get a moment like that at any moment. Like they catch you off guard. Right. Like the moment with Joel and the dance. Like I felt like these things could happen at any time, and I was like, I gotta just like be in the moment. And like Jesse has some parts where I felt like a sense of conviction. Tommy has moments where I just feel remorse. You can hear the remorse in his voice. Owen, just like he wanted to love Abby, and Abby was shut down. And then even when they had that moment on the boat, she just was like, "Get over it." Like and I'm like, dude, like.
I think this game
Revenge
is better.
is a bitch, dude.
This game is better than the first one, but I think I'll replay. I mean, I'm gonna replay the first one more than this one, which doesn't make sense.
You're gonna play it again?
Well, no. I'm just saying, like, the amount of times I replayed the first one, dude, it's just a shit.
It's that multiplayer
because it was the only game of its kind at the time. Now we have a second version.
I mean, even after I got the platinum, I still replayed it. I don't know if I'll replay it. I think because it's so heavy.
For me, the first one I think was so memorable because first of all the game is fucking fantastic, but there is also the online play. So I played that a lot too, and it has obviously the game style of the online is exactly like the regular game. So like that game style, like when I started playing this one, it was like natural. Like you immediately like you're like I know how to do this. I know the silent mode. I know fucking how to craft things.
They're supposed to make a multiplayer. Do you think they're going to make that with all this?
I think so, but I think it's going to be a secondary thing. It'll be like a $40 game or whatever.
Oh, just for the multiplayer? Maybe.
That's the $40 game I was talking about.
They should just
season pass.
I don't know. If I was Neil Druckmann, I wouldn't make it. Like, fuck you.
Yeah? I don't know. Like, playing this game, I was like, man, I feel like the reason I like the first one so much more is because I was able to play multiplayer. So I feel like maybe I could have that same excitement for this game remembrance of this game if I have multiplayer as well.
Multiplayer was fun.
To me, the way it was done in such a way that I felt so like new. Like there were the way it grabbed me. Like I had described the first game to Katie, and she was pretty interested. When I was going through this game, she would watch it, and I showed her YouTube of like the first game. I was showing her this game. She's like, okay, you're gonna keep playing. Tell me what happens in the morning, and I would just recap the whole night. Like, okay, I did this, but then Abby found this out, and then that, and this is a context because in the first game, this happened with Joel, and then this happened, and she's like, holy, like, she's just like popcorn, and I'm like, I think that's a testament to both of them, but like this larger story that they've told, and like all these characters they've introduced, and to me, it was so unique. Like I liked playing as Joel. It was such a thing, like to play as this just like grumpy guy who becomes like a father figure to this girl. This game felt so great in that like I'm playing as not one but two leading women in this game, and it's like top tier game, and they're just kicking ass. And to me, like there was not a question ever of like this is unrealistic. She's like you know how a lot of times games make female characters just dainty.
Yeah.
And that gets put into questions like why is a women's armor like just a bikini and a men's armor is like fucking juggernaut, and like this made everything feel so like raw and visceral and just intense, and just it was pure, like everything that drove them was just intensity, like bloodlust. I don't know, just all of it just felt like I don't know. Is revenge just like that's how badly it can feel.
I have a question because like I read every note that I found, but I guess sometimes I look at it too fast or something. So I remember reading that there's a note like from a Seraphite saying that the reason why the treaty ended or the trust ended is because of fireflies attacked, or not fireflies, wolves attacked them. And then I remember reading a wolf one saying, okay. So then we don't know for sure who started it then.
And then
she said.
I think it was, a mixed thing, but there was also someone saying something of like Isaac. Someone's like, I can't believe Isaac killed her. He knew this, it would turn her into a martyr.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think Isaac wanted to incite a war. Yeah. Because he wants to conquer, he wants to get rid of them.
Do we know? Was it Isaac who did the treaty as well, or no?
Isaac was around. He's the one who killed the martyr.
Right. But was he
before
the
then,
one-
I think he was in charge. Or
So-
no.
So someone else did the treaty, and I think he ended up being in charge after he wanted to incite all
They
this.
talked about an overthrowing.
Yeah.
There was the earlier notes showed like someone's taking over.
Oh my god, I completely forgot about those. Because there's the note, yeah, like where
Fed-
like
the
this
Fed-
person's acting weird or whatever.
No, that was a different one.
Oh, never mind. Okay.
There was that one town.
Yeah.
And then that house that I remember you talked about. But
just,
when
like-
when you're in the bigger part of it,
There's
there
just so
were-
much information, so like that's why. So like, there's one story where we're talking about like being like in Seattle 1,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
day 1 or whatever. For
You're
LA.
making through all that-
You're
all
going
those
through that,
houses.
and that's talking about the overthrowing.
Yeah.
Like there's a one guy who's like he should be leader type. He should protect us, but he's looking for revenge because they murdered his wife or whatever.
I think where you start seeing notes for this, the wolves versus the Seraphites, was in the television station. Like
Oh,
when
yeah,
you
yeah,
when
yeah.
you're like thinking you're following
Yeah.
Tommy and you see all these hangings, you're like, oh shit.
Are you following Jesse the whole time though? I don't think you're following Jesse the whole time.
I don't know about Jesse, but I mean like you're looking for Tommy.
I think the tower was.
That was Seraphites. They had symbols and stuff and
Oh,
everything.
you're fucking right. Never mind.
Remember?
Yeah, they're also hanging, and that's the
And
Seraphite.
freaking guts out. Yeah. So one of the things I had a hunch, but it wasn't true, was I thought who was the Mendoza? Was that the buddy?
Manny?
Manny. Yeah. I thought I knew it was an M.
Perfect snipe, bro. Perfect snipe.
Well, the thing was when I was playing as Ellie, and you see a guy get hung when the whistle happened the first time you whistled,
yeah.
I thought that was Manny.
Oh, okay.
And so the whole time I'm like, he's gonna get captured by the Seraphites when you're as Abby, and he's gonna get gutted. I'm like, oh, that was him, wasn't it?
But it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Dude, Manny got owned.
God,
Tommy!
that whole part where you're after he gets owned and you're chasing through that part, I was like you, Jang, where it was like he's somewhere in here, and you're like, wait, where'd he go? And then you go out the door.
So when I was doing that part with Ellie, where you're going through or as Abby, when you're going through the whole scene where he's like sniping at you, I for some reason I thought it was a Seraphite. I didn't connect that point to it being, because there's so much like redoing of a certain section in someone else's vision. And so when I'm doing that part, I'm like, fuck, the Seraphite's fucking good, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And so when I finally get to it, I realize like, oh fuck, this is the area that Jesse ended up going to, and I'm like, where the fuck is Jesse?
When you're on the island and it's on fire, and you're horseback and you're
Bloodborne.
I was like, this is a fucking movie right now.
On the island, yeah, on the
Yeah.
Seraphite
Like
island.
right as you start going into that
Right.
to the fire, I was like, holy fuck,
And then the thing falls down, and I was like, whoa.
man.
There's some scenes that were very like, oh, they try to do the very intro, the horseback, they try to do a Death Stranding. It's like, Death Stranding did it better. Where they
I-
revealed the town,
Yeah,
I was like,
I really want to play Death Stranding again.
Death Stranding did it better. But no, it's cool. It was
Yeah.
cool.
So I
Yeah,
haven't
there were
been
some
this
moments that were just like cinematic, like,
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
I mean, I'm stoked for whatever. Now, I mean, you haven't played Uncharted 4.
I played a little bit.
You got to finish it.
I gotta finish it.
I think you'll like it. I don't know. It's a very different story, but it's a good.
I saw a spoiler recently of Uncharted 4.
Can I ask what you saw?
His daughter.
Just,
I mean-
you saw a daughter.
Yeah,
Okay.
his daughter. I'm pretty sure it's his.
Okay.
Yeah.
His being Nathan.
No, Sam. Who is the father? Mark.
Joel's?
Mark
Joel's daughter?
Povich?
This is how they tie them all together. Did you guys have any final thoughts on Last of Us Part 2?
I think the game is a must play.
Like my game of the year.
And it sucks if you hate things.
And I haven't played Persona 5, but my game of the year, Royale.
What? Yeah, I was gonna maybe next week we could talk about like how this far into the year, what we think of games.
Games.
Yeah, just stuff. But like, I was gonna ask like, what else have you guys played from this year?
What else came out this year?
Doom,
Death Stranding.
Oh shit, I don't have that.
Death Stranding on PC,
PC.
Half-Life Alex.
The mods,
Like the
dude.
Asteroid on PC.
I wonder what the BBs are gonna be. Baby Shrek.
I think
No, they need to have a Thomas the Tank.
Jesus.
I think with Ghost of Tsushima, I'm gonna hold off on that one.
Next
If
week,
it gets
I
good,
got
no.
Ghost of Tsushima.
If it gets good reviews, if it gets a 95,
I'm gonna wait. Like I don't know.
see.
Obviously,
you know what? If it gets a 90, I might pick it up.
I'm gonna pick it up at a
Might.
discount. It might be a $5 discount, but I won't pay full price for it. Yeah, because I think I'm gonna go back to finishing Final Fantasy VII. I'm not gonna
Yes.
I'm not gonna rush it though. But
yeah,
that's the
take
next
your
one.
time.
Did that come
And then
out this
after
year?
that,
Yeah, Final Fantasy 7.
and then
that came
after
out like
that,
March.
I'm gonna finish off Death Stranding.
Dude, this series is
And
super
those
long.
two will probably hold me off till Cyberpunk. No, that Cyberpunk is still
November.
Like
You have a lot of time.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft, baby.
Hey.
I fucking can't.
Shadowlands coming out.
I know.
No, wait.
But like the expansion.
You're not gonna get it?
No, I'm not gonna get it.
Bet you're gonna get it. Wild Bargains, baby. The
That's
monkey.
what
the
was the
monkey beat.
hesitation because I'm gonna say no, but I knew you're gonna
The
fucking be like,
monkey
yeah, you're gonna get it.
Hey, I bet you were gonna finish the game. He didn't believe you were gonna finish the game. I was like, yes, did it.
You think he's gonna get World of Warcraft?
Yeah.
Yeah. me
You're
too.
both.
Let's go.
I won't let you down.
You're gonna get World of Warcraft.
No, we're
and
like Tommy. You
No.
promised me.
World of Warcraft and Ghost of Tsushima. Bam. Let's go. The Wild
He's
Bargains.
like, I saved $5. I bought both. Big game plays. Big game plays.
Must play.
Imagine-
People are mad out of context spoilers.
I definitely like. I'm at a point where I want to actually hear constructive criticisms against this game, and so I can at least understand where they're coming from. I don't agree with a lot of like. I've already heard some people talking about it. They're like, the game had me until the end. I'm like, that's where it had me. Like I don't get it. But I mean,
Is that the Kotaku one where the
No.
guy someone wrote, "I love The Last of Us Part 2 except for the parts." That
oh,
didn't-
I think it was a Kotaku person, but the main one was a Vice guy, and
Vice.
The one that he says
Well, it was
like
the Waypoint.
PlayStation representative like hit them up and be
Yeah.
like, why did you write this?
So yeah, that was
What's wrong with you?
They were talking about like this person wrote a review, and it was critical of the game, and they were inquired. Like I was listening to a new podcast where
Yeah.
he went more in depth about it, and he was saying they wanted to know like we kind of feel like you were a little harsh, and we kind of wanted to delve more into what you were talking about in a polite way, but it
Yeah.
was kind of like, why are you following up with me?
Yeah.
And he's like, you might say the graphics are great, but they only were so great. Like the rest of it didn't hold up as much for me. And so yeah, I stand by what I say. And they're like, okay, thank you, appreciate it. And he's like, it was just so weird. And then I think the larger conversation became, in the past, magazines and game developers would send their games like weeks and weeks and weeks earlier, and then they would get to see the scores from the magazines, and they could choose whether they wanted to push that magazine out or not, or like they could be like, we're going to pull our advertising in your magazine if you publish that score.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot more leverage that the games had in the reviews.
Yeah.
And they were like, this is reminding us of those, and we don't like, it's kind of scary. I don't know. I was like, the way he said it was like they were nice, and I don't know. The other thing that I'm trying to figure out is like Troy Baker, we were talking about that, the criticism thing. How do you ask for feedback? Like, or how do you respond to feedback when a game has such volatile like comments and everything? I don't know.
It's weird. So playing the game, there was the Jason Schreier comment that Troy Baker had.
Games are too long.
Yeah, the games are too long. When I played this, at first I was like, I think that's why I was so hesitant. When you guys were like, you're not even halfway, and I was like, fuck. And then Jason Schreier had that like general comment, but then he verified that it was about Last of Us. I was like, fuck, dude, I'm never gonna beat
But if
this
it's too
shit.
short, you're gonna be mad too.
Yeah, there's like it's so weird. There's like a fine line, like fucking thin thread.
I think
This
it's
game
contextual. Like,
only had like one like slow point. Well, Hamilton had a couple. Just saying, but I'm just saying. There's this one.
I'm not gonna miss my shot.
There's just one moment in the game where I was just not. Oh, two. Get a halfway point. But
I just didn't like, the biggest slow part for me was having to restart my skill trees. Like that just took,
What's funny is I like Abby's playthrough more than Ellie's because I
Really?
feel like Abby's was more action packed.
yeah, it's
Then it
designed
was.
to be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I played Ellie's like a fucking Wolverine.
You could play it
Abby's, I was like I don't know, because they put her against stronger enemies.
And also, if
I was trying to pick-
slow as fuck to fucking silently
No,
kill
Ellie-
someone.
Abby's is more action packed. It's
Not in my playthrough.
oh well, I mean the way her skill tree is set up.
Yeah,
it's-
yeah. It's
Oh no,
catered to
yeah.
that for
But like,
sure.
I also felt like when it was Abby's turn, like it was much more action, and I felt like Ellie. I was like, man, like I don't feel like Ellie's was this much. Dude, what the
Really?
fuck? Yeah, I just felt like it. Not even the tree. It's just I felt like when I
Just
played
play like
as
a,
Abby,
you just play like a grandma.
Well, the way, okay, maybe it was, I think I was trying to lean into the character.
Yeah.
I felt like Abby was weaning off of revenge and violence, and Ellie was leaning into it. And so I was like, I want to lean my character into that. So when I was Ellie, I didn't stealth kill. I'm like, I want everyone to see, like, I'm a murderer right now. I'm just like, flame this person. Like, I didn't flame just
Sunhide
corpses.
Legend.
I did Molotovs on like regular people.
Yeah.
And like seeing them just like, and just, I was like, holy fuck. Like Ellie's just like red.
Do you want roast marshmallows?
So
And then with Abby, I was like, she's like the brute trying to be like gentle. And I was playing her that way. And then when she did get angry, I was like fucking laying into people, but I was trying to wean off that. So
you're trying to play as that character. Essentially. feel
I
like
thought
that.
I was playing how I thought that character.
Role
Yeah.
play.
We role
Yeah,
play, baby.
essentially. But
But I guess it's cool that people can get different.
there's a moment where I'm Ellie
Yeah.
fighting against the Seraphites, and there's a moment where they're putting someone to get hanged, and there's 3 Seraphites close to each other.
Yeah.
So this is before I had a Molotov upgrade.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can get all 3 of them. So I toss a Molotov like perfectly in the middle, and like one person's arm catches on fire, and I'm like, fuck yeah. And so I only worry about like 2 other guys, and this person never fucking died. So they hid behind me, and so then they start fucking like shooting me. I'm like, oh my god. And so I never got anyone with the fucking Molotov. That's the only time I've used a Molotov against you. And I
You gotta
failed.
upgrade the radius.
Yeah, and I failed miserably.
So like another thing I would do was with Abby, I would actually try and like hide and get advantages into a combat scenario.
Yeah.
Ellie, I was like I'm walking into this scenario, like I don't give a fuck, like come at me, and like
Linda-
people would
Linda
shoot at me. I'd be
Hamilton. Linda Hamilton.
yeah.
until the sniper came.
Or Alexander.
Even then, I was
or,
just like, I was like Nick Cage.
or Alexander Hamilton.
I'm not gonna.
Did you wait till you go into the battle? Shoot me first.
Is that the poster that they had for it? Okay, that pose. What's up there?
He said he would never miss a shot, but he threw a shot. He said he would never throw a shot, and he threw a shot.
Games, man, it's crazy.
I mean, Tommy missed his shots, dude.
Oh shit!
Hey.
Bow, bing.
Guys, where can people find you?
They can find me at the Fulio365 on Instagram, and then just the Fulio everywhere else.
At the Last Bosses everywhere.
You can find me at Cujo Prime. You can find us all at the Weekly DLC. This is episode 178, our Last of Us Part 2 spoiler cast. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any thoughts, we'd love to hear what you think of Last of Us Part 2, whether you played it or whether you want to play it or haven't had an interest. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, we'll
DLC.
You later.